It was an action-packed weekend in the NBA, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers beat the Thunder, like not beat the Thunder, beat the Thunder. And then that come after, on Friday, the Rockets beat the hell out of the Thunder too. So the Thunder are looking human, I guess.
3 double-digit losses for the Thunder in the last, month? Shout out.
And then on top of that, the Houston Rockets took care of the Golden State Warriors, who were smoking hot last night as well. And the Rockets are now, well, they've been the second seed in the West, but they actually look like the second seed in the West. So I want to start right there. Are the Rockets legit?
They are. They deserve credit. Maybe this is the best way to describe them. I'm sure Mars won't disagree with this as our resident Rockets fan. I think that the Rockets have the second highest floor in the Western Conference. And I think that matters among a year where other teams are showing that their floor is much lower. Their ceiling is a lot higher, but their floor is a lot lower. Mars, would you say that's a good assessment of your team? Is that because of their defense, offensive rebounding, the prowess of Steven Adams, respectfully, and others? Do you think that is a good way to describe your team?
Yeah, I actually do. Yeah, I think we might not have the highest ceiling, and I think that comes down to limitations offensively that we can talk about. But I think just the non-negotiables and the things that we bring every night, I think you know what you're going to get. And that's something that I don't think is true for every other team in the league. You know you're going to get a potent defense that's extremely versatile. And you know you're going to get a physical game, and you know you're going to get a team that dominates the possession battle, whether that be by limiting their own turnovers, forcing you into turnovers, and then obviously the offensive rebounds. So when you start with a baseline of we're going to win the offensive rebounding battle 90% of the time, we're going to win the possession battle 95% of the time, and we're probably going to be the better defensive team 85% of the time, you give yourself a chance. And I think that's why Houston don't get blown out that much. I think that's the big reason. That's, to me, is the biggest reason why Houston don't get blown out that much. We don't blow out teams that often. We've actually done that more lately, but we've been playing some bad teams. But we don't get blown out that much, I think, because of how high our floor is. So it's just hard to beat us by a significant margin. But I do think the ceiling is limited. But I'm at the point where, as everyone knows, I've been saying I want Memphis in the playoffs. I think Memphis is a team we can beat, but I haven't been ultimately very high on how many teams I would pick us against in a playoff series on here anyway. I don't know the answer to how I feel about Houston right now, but what I do know is most measures of success, Houston seemed to be doing quite good in all of those measures, whether that be net rating, whether that be defensive rating, whether that be records against 500 teams, whether that be records against the Western Conference.
Yep.
All of those metrics, all of those measures that have been used to measure how good teams are in the past, Houston ranked very highly in all of them, very highly in all of them. I know we have the third best record against the West, I think, only behind OKC and the Lakers. We have the second best record against 500 teams in the West, only behind OKC. We have a top 5 defense for sure. I don't know where we actually rank in defense. We are third right now. We have a top 5 defense. We're 12th in offense. Now, there's some caveats to that. And we're one of the best teams, maybe only behind OKC.
What are the whoa. Stay right there, Mars. What's the caveat for being the 12th best offense in the game? I'm listening.
That we are a very bad half-court offense statistically, but I also think there's nuance to that as well. So Houston's offense as a whole is very nuanced, and I think we could have that discussion. But
I would love to have that discussion. Yeah, I would love to have that discussion. The reason why I would like to have that discussion, the reason why I want to have that discussion, Mars, is because all season long, you are the epitome of buy low, sell high, and you've been selling very low on your Houston Rockets all season long. All season long, Mars.
What do you want me to say? I feel like I'm being very fair with what I'm saying right now.
I do. I 100% believe that you're being very fair. However, Mars, I do feel like you've undersold your boys. And the reason why I feel like you've undersold your boys in the aspect of defense, here's what I'm thinking, Mars. I feel like when you get to the playoffs, there's things that you can control in terms of a series in the playoffs. And if you have an elite defense, you can 100% control in a series. And I feel like the Houston Rockets. I feel like
it's elite defense. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean it just depends on matchups, though. I feel like this is like what
there is no matchup with the Houston Rockets.
Well,
in terms of
I personally, I do think there are every team has matchups they struggle with. I think that
who's the team, Swiper?
For Houston,
you better not say it.
No, he's gonna say it, and it's fine.
They might see each other in 2-7, so we'll find out very soon.
Who is he? In the league.
Is he talking about Denver?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't bringing up Denver.
Our record against Denver has been very favorable the last 2 years.
I wasn't bringing up Denver. Though. Ron went there.
We're 9-0 against the Warriors, so it's not a real matchup. We're like 6-2 against Denver.
I haven't brought up Denver, just to be clear. But they just played and Jamal Murray cooked y'all respectfully. But then we'll see on Sunday. So we'll see this weekend. They play again this weekend, and Denver has to play now because they
But we don't have to play now. We don't have to play because
exactly.
We handle business early.
No, I know, I agree. That's why you have I think the second highest floor. I think on the other end, I think the Warriors will be an interesting matchup, come playoff time, 100%. I think the Warriors would be a very interesting matchup for that team.
But who's the one team you were talking about though?
Well, I think the Warriors. I still think OKC. Obviously, I mean that's just
that goes without saying.
I even think the Lakers. I think the Lakers have advantages over Houston in the series. I think as good as Amen Thompson is. Okay, there's only one of him. You know what I mean? And then there's LeBron and Reeves and whatever else. Respect Dylan Brooks. He's really good too.
No.
Who?
Yes.
All right. Respectfully. I'm taking
Fred Fleet.
The Houston Rockets
smartest defender ever.
The Houston Rockets have the ability. The Houston Rockets have the ability to control a series with their defense.
I don't think so.
And the reason why is because their point of attack defender, Amen Thompson, causes a lot of trouble.
They got one of him. Yeah.
Okay, they do have one of him, but
Happen may be the best point of attack defender.
No. Respect.
I don't know what to tell you.
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We just had a discussion last week, and we all agreed what I'm in, and then now we're switching.
I was making the argument it wasn't Dyson. No one agreed it wasn't.
No respect. It's definitely not Dyson Daniels, but we forgot about that.
The point that I'm making is that what Amen Thompson does resonates throughout the rest of the crew with Dylan, right? With Jabari Smith, with Tari, and if they can keep games like yesterday. Now, I'm not going to say that they're holding teams to under 120, whatever. But if we get into a playoff series, they have the kind of defense where you can muck the series up and hold the team to 105, 100. And when you get into a series like that, I like the Houston Rockets because I feel like they have enough offense and their defense can control the rest of the series. I love that about them. I don't see a team running up.
But the Clippers have an elite defense too, and they have a better offense.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Houston's defense is better than them.
Well, respectfully,
Houston's defense is better than theirs.
I think our defense is more versatile.
Yes, I personally, I don't think they're in the same class. Whatever the conversation is, who's a smidge, budge, whatever. But I think they're in the same class, respectfully. They got a better interior defense. That's for sure.
Yeah,
they got Zubac. I won't argue that part.
Zoo is an amazing rim protector. But I think the Clippers are just more limited in terms of what they can do defensively. So in a playoff setting, when we're talking about matchups, I do think the Rockets are more matchup proof defensively because I think. I'm not saying the Rockets can stop every team in the NBA. I don't think that's the case. But what I'm saying is there's things that, we're talking about now. Like last night alone, we had units where we would have Şengün out there as the lone big, and then we would have Amen, Tari, Dylan. Then we would have units where we have Şengün and Steven Adams out there. Then we would have units where we have no big out there with Jabari, and we're switching everything. That's when one game we've gone to 3 different lineups that play defense completely differently. Like the fact that we could do that, the fact that we have that level of versatility. The Clippers don't have that level of versatility.
No, they don't.
But what they do have is that their defensive scheme and their personnel, the way they do play defense, that might be that their best defensive lineup might be better than the Rockets' best defensive lineup. What they can't do is be malleable the way
Chris Dunn, DJJ, Zubac, Kawhi Leonard, and probably James Harden.
That's better than.
It might be because of Zoo's pure rim protection.
But then they still got Kawhi and James Harden on for the offense.
And then you got Kawhi's hands, and then DJJ can card wings and stuff. So they might have the better defensive line. Maybe. The issue is once you start going to the versatility and certain
playoff Kawhi though, if he's healthy like this.
Yeah, but
how many
the Clippers only have one big. I'm gonna keep saying that. That's my biggest issue with the Clippers. They only have one big. So they don't have the level of versatility that Houston has.
Kawhi's playing the 5.
I think the Rockets are a better defense than the Clippers. I think the Rockets are a better defense.
I
don't
do.
think it's
I 100%. I do because I feel like
I'm comfortable taking Houston.
Yeah, I'm extremely.
I am
comfortable.
too.
I'm fine saying it's close, but I'm comfortable taking Houston.
I mean, you talk about Swiper is a stickler for Chris Dunn. Who else defends on a wing like Chris Dunn? I mean, Kawhi Leonard is not.
DJJ is been a really good defender this year.
But he's not.
He's not what he's
yeah,
not.
but
What
he's not. We're just not like there's like
And
4 or
Chris
5.
Dunn isn't what I'm in top.
The Rockets have 3 defenders on the perimeter better than Derrick.
100%. They got 3 of them. And Tari and Dylan. And they're more versatile. They're more switchable.
Who?
No, we're not doing that, Ron. No.
Right.
Who did he say?
I'm gonna stop.
He said Fred. No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
No, we're not going to do that. But
Maybe IQ wise, but ability.
When you talk about being switchable, and to Mars's point, with that crew, Dylan Brooks can guard the 3. He can guard the 4. Jabari can get on the glass and also guard the 5. Now, he might not be great at guarding the 5, but he can guard the 5.
What's Fred VanVleet?
I like Jabari on certain 5s.
On certain 5, and I can tell you what I do like. I like Jabari guarding. I like Jabari guarding 4 or 5s more than I like Zubac having to guard in space and having to guard on the perimeter like 3s and 4s. I like Jabari having to do that more.
What I will say this too.
Let's go back to the idea of versatility.
But I think Şengün, he hasn't had like great games like lately consistently.
He was
great.
But
I like how Şengün's been attacking. Like I personally do. Like I like that he's trying to force the issue. Like he's trying to make something happen. That spin dunk that he had versus was that OKC? Over on Chet?
OKC on Chet, yeah.
He's a lot more athletic than people realize. Like, and so he's been playing well.
That's why it just looks weird.
Well, he's just
huge. Because he's European.
Respect.
But I'm not arguing.
Shout out all my Turks out there.
I do think he's great as an athlete. I just think it looks weird because it kind of looks a little gangly because of how.
But they deserve crazy respect. And I believe this. Trust me, I believe this. I believe Steph Curry used all of his shooting luck 2 days prior versus Denver.
There's no such thing as shooting luck with Steph
Curry. There is shooting luck because he didn't do any of that. He didn't do any of that.
Whoa! Rewind.
He made a half.
No. He looked like 2020. I have respect. I mean, genuinely mean this. I have not seen him shoot that well versus Denver since April of 2022. I'm talking about he was coming off of like bink. Turn around and it's still in the air. Turn around and it's still in the air. But not all the time this year. It's not live out this year. In April,
it's not luck.
In April of this year, he's done that. He's done that, but like 4 games. But like, bro, come on now.
If anything,
it's 7 days into April. He's done it in 4 games. What do you mean?
You think the Rockets got lucky?
The Rockets got lucky. It's more. We're more liable for Steph to do what he did against you guys than for him to do what he did against the Rockets.
But because I'm in Thompson respect.
He played really good defense and stuff.
Yeah, I'm in Thompson.
Over this weekend, we held Shea and held Steph. Well, Amen. I'm gonna be honest. Amen held Shea and held Steph.
Hey man, not all Kentucky guards are built for that pressure. That's all I'm saying.
See, okay.
I'm just saying that he making that all defensive case real strong. I think he got to be on there.
I want to dive into both games, though. Let's start with the game yesterday and what happened with Steph Curry. Obviously, Steph Curry only had 3 points. He went 1 of 10 from the field.
The only shot he made was that half-court heave.
He did have 8 assists, though. But aside from that, you guys basically locked the Warriors down and shut their water off.
Buddy Hield decided to make some shots. But yeah.
He got a lot of the shots that he got was off the
Ron, that's
in transition.
And that's a super chat for you right there.
He didn't get a lot. He didn't get a lot of stuff in the half court offense. So with that being said, right? With that being said, I thought Amen did a great job. Steph Curry is so good at his off-ball action using screens. I don't think people talk much about Steph Curry's ability to use screens. And he's so good at that. And Amen Thompson, I feel like, did a great job at navigating screens last night.
He was face guarding it. He wouldn't let him get into the screen.
I felt like he did a great job in beating Curry to those screens where Curry had to now misdirect and go a different way, and that throws him off of his.
Chill, is that the best athlete that he's seen? Like a guard, like a non-LeBron athlete that he's seen, like guard him like that?
No, I mean Kawhi Leonard was pretty.
Amen Thompson.
Yeah, but he didn't have that. He didn't have that like. He's like Gumbo. Like, I don't know if y'all know who Gumbo is, but like that's what Ben Thompson remind me of. He just is mad long, jumps high as crap. He honestly, it's like scary. Like You know what I mean? Like if you just saw him running at you in the middle of the street and he just started like leaping at you with long arms, he's strong. Like I don't know if he's seen like a legit
Gumbo,
athlete like that.
Is Gumbo like an anime thing?
No, Gumbo is just like a little cartoon figure. Like he's super long. Yeah,
Gumbo is 100% food, Moss. Yes, it is.
Gummy.
Gumbo's a cartoon.
Gumbo is 100% food.
It's like gummy. It's
Curry was food last night. If we're being honest with you, Curry was food last night.
Yeah, but that's usual, bro. I mean, that's they who else you gonna attack? Like who else you gonna attack?
Buddy Hield.
Yes, Buddy Hield is food too.
We attacked Buddy Hield when he was in the game.
I just think, Mars, that with this Houston Rocket team that you've been underselling all year long because you don't want to gas them, because it sounds to me like you're worried that you don't want to be wrong about them. You've been underselling this team. This team has the ability to get into a playoff series and change the landscape defensively and possibly win going deep into the playoffs with their defense. Kind of like what Detroit did. I ain't saying that they're going to win the NBA championship, but kind of like what Detroit did where their staple was their defense, and all we need is a little bit of points. It's kind of Swiper. You're a football guy.
What year?
In 2000, in 2004. Swiper, you're a football guy. Remember Warren Sapp would say, "Yo, you give me 20 points, I'll make it stick." That's kind of what's going on with the Houston Rockets. Like, yo, give me 105, we'll make it stick. Give me 110, we'll make that stick. And I feel like that with their defense, they have enough where there's nothing that's overwhelming them. I don't think the Clippers overwhelm them in terms of their offense because I feel like with their versatility, they can handle the Clippers. The team that I am thinking about is Denver, off the strength that they got Joker. And when you got the best player in the league, it's pretty difficult, especially the way he plays, to slow him down and slow the rest of those guys down. That's really difficult to do. So, but this Houston team, they're gonna be trouble in the playoffs. I would not be surprised with the way that they play defense. I would not be surprised if I saw them in the semifinal, if I saw them in the Western Conference Finals, just off the strength of their defense.
I would be shocked. I would be shocked.
Well,
the 2-3 right now is them and the Lakers.
If we see Memphis, I expect us to be in the second round.
Yep.
And then it just depends on who we would see in the second round, and then how.
What's the standings right now?
But I think it's possible.
The Clippers was just 8th on Saturday or Friday. They're in 5th now.
Yeah.
What are we doing in the Western Conference? It's ridiculous.
But
right now, we would project to play the Lakers or the Warriors in the second round. Right now.
I think you got a shot against the Warriors, Mars. Just on the defense alone. I do. I think you got a shot against them. Because I'm watching Jimmy Butler turn down shots yesterday because of the betterment of the crew. I think it was because Houston threw him off his offense. And they can't just be relegated. And Jimmy Butler has to know he can't just be relegated to transition points and putbacks. That's not going to work.
He was better than Steph was yesterday.
4 games. Can they do that to Jimmy Butler? Can they do that to the Warriors for 4 games?
I'm not as high on Jimmy's scoring ability as
me neither. And people just expect him to turn it up in the playoffs.
Well, he don't got to go for 30. I think a solid 16, 17, 18 points from Jimmy.
That's what he's doing now.
Jimmy.
That's not going to be enough. No. 17,
but
let's doing that now.
Last night
he
just legitimately wasn't being aggressive and shooting the ball. Like, Jimmy, I can't have Steph getting harassed like this and you shoot 7 shots.
Well, I mean, but Pods has been their second best scorer for the last streak they've been on.
Swiper, that's the point.
Yeah, I think Ron's saying that's supposed to be. Yeah, Ron's saying.
I mean, Pod's been scoring well though. Like, it's just Jimmy's like.
But that's great if he's scoring well to complement Jimmy and Steph's scoring.
I think Jimmy's averaging less points than Pods though since they enabled.
Which is also a problem.
They've also been winning.
Yeah,
Pods has been making a lot of like. I mean, I think based on how their win profile has gone, it's not been a problem. I do think that Jimmy, because Pods is not going to be able to carry as the secondary scorer, I do think he's going to have to increase the scoring next week, like literally next week.
Ron, is it fair to say that? I mean, I know that Jimmy was turning down some shots yesterday, some open shots yesterday. I'd like to think that Houston had something to do with that because when you turn down shots, when you open, you're looking over your shoulder for the defense. And Houston was on him. Like, he was in the mid-range. He turned down a shot because Houston was there a second ago. And now Jimmy wants to make the right play. Jimmy still is trying to figure out how he is on this team as a scorer. Should I be the guy? Should I not be the guy? Should I get – because he can get 20. He can get 25. 17 is not going to be enough.
Sure, them dudes can't guard Jimmy Butler
at all.
None of those.
I like them young fellas. I really do. I really enjoy them young cats. I like watching them play basketball. I love the intensity, enjoy the tenacity, all of that. But Jimmy, I think to what JD said in the chat, he was being passive. I think that's a thing Jimmy Butler does, and I don't think we could hold it against Jimmy Butler doing that in this setting right now. He's not gonna do that in the playoffs. Like,
why would it change, Ox? Why would it change?
It always changes, Shil. It always changes.
But he
had to
do that.
He always does that.
He had to do that with the Heat because they didn't really have a second and third.
Sure, he's gonna have to do it with the Warriors.
Yeah, Curry's not gonna have it every night, y'all. I don't know. We're not gonna. I don't want to pretend about this. Curry is not going to be.
He's not
firing off every single night. Not this Curry. So he is going to. He has to. I think it will happen. But I don't know if he's good enough as a scorer though. Like, could it also chill? This is 2 years ago from 33 Jimmy. This is 3 years ago from 32 Jimmy. Those were the last two like primary elite scoring playoff runs we got from Jimmy. I don't know if he has that in his bag right now, but I think he got like 22, 23 for a series.
Yeah, right. I'm not expecting him to be giving Amin Thompson 56 talking about you can't guard me and you know what I'm saying consistently. You know, I'm not expecting that from Jimmy, but I do think he'll get in his bag and get at Amin Thompson for a game or two. You know what I mean? I'm not saying 56, but and I like Amin, but I think I do think Amin will probably be more focused on Steph in that series. But I don't believe that can shut Jimmy Butler down.
What's shutting him down? Ox, like 12, 14? Like
that's like something like that.
That's 15, shutting him down.
15 and under, I think, is a bad showing for Jimmy. I think they need 19 and up. You know what I'm saying? Some around 22, 23, something consistent like that. You know, but even in games, but to Swiper's point, like I don't think if B-positive scoring can be a good efficient scorer, I don't think that's a negative. I think that's fine. I think you're gonna get that for a couple of games out of him throughout the series. I think Moses and Buddy gonna have a couple of games where they're shooting very well. You know, so and obviously I know Swiper, you're saying Steph's not gonna be able to do this, he's not gonna be able to do that, but Steph Curry is gonna be able to. He's going to have a lot of good games if they play a lot of.
Well, let's get to the bottom of why they got 100%. That I could get with that. But why did they get Jimmy Butler? Because just so we know, Pods was on the crew the whole season, and they got Jimmy Butler because they needed a secondary scorer. Because it wasn't Pods. Now I'm not saying that Pods, to your point about him being a negative. No. We need all the scoring that we need all the scoring that we can get 100%. But we can't have Pods having the buckets that he's having outside of Jimmy. Like Jimmy needs to pick up his scoring in order for us to have an opportunity to win. Right. We don't have an opportunity to win if Steph Curry is going 28, 29, and then Pods is doing what he's doing, and then Jimmy is giving me 16, 17. It's not enough.
Right. No, well, the thing with Jimmy Butler shows he plays basketball. Like I think he looks at the season in the way that I really hate. Like for instance, how Swiper talks about. I seem like Swiper, for instance, like when you're talking, I think you separate the regular season in the off season completely. I think you look at it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like you look at it as two different seasons. Not Jimmy Butler. No, just in general. Like when we were talking about it, and you'd be like, "No, we're not in the playoffs," and I'm like, "Well, that's still the same season." You know, I think Jimmy Butler looks at it like you, Swiper. Like this is this, and this is that. Chill. I mean,
nobody can be a dog like us though. So you wouldn't understand that, dog. But you know what Jimmy's done this, but
Jimmy Butler depends on turning the switch on. Jimmy Butler does that. He does that consistently.
I think he's too old, bro.
I don't think so. I don't think he's like you said. He's not going to be coming like he did in 2020 or 2023 as far as that same. But he still got it though. So,
but remember, he averaged 22 a game.
We can't look at but we can't look at last night's game and say this is what we're getting from Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. We know for a fact that that's not how Jimmy Butler plays.
Like that kind
because
of
we know for how Jimmy Butler plays basketball. You can't. Y'all can't pick and choose when to be consistent with a player's career.
No, we're not. No, we're not doing that, Ox.
All of a sudden, Jimmy Butler doesn't do this every year.
No, we know who he is, Ox. That's not the point. No, I know who Jimmy Butler is. I've seen Jimmy Butler like fire to each and every player that he goes up against. I've seen him do that. I've seen him go toe to toe with LeBron James. I've seen him destroy Drew Holiday. 100%. I've seen that from him. However, we are talking about an older Jimmy Butler, right? When we're talking about an older Jimmy Butler, who you're asking to do what he did 2 or 3 years ago. And to Mars's point, we're asking Steph Curry, can you turn the clock back for 6 weeks? That's going to be hard because I'm already hearing people telling me that Steph Curry is tired. Well, what's going to happen when you run into this Houston team in the playoffs with
How
all
do
of
you know
these young
Steph Curry's tired?
I don't think I don't think he's tired. I just think that he's getting
3
dealt
points
with
sucks.
I don't think that has is that him being tired or is that just
didn't he just have 52, Swiper?
Yes,
y'all
he did.
can't pick and
52.
choose.
Yeah, I'm saying he had
can't-
52s and 37.
No,
Y'all can't pick and choose when to use one
we're
game.
not doing that.
He need a nap, Ox.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, Ox. I'm not. I'm
I
thinking
don't think
about.
we should be worried about Steph. I don't think we should be worried about Steph. Steph is Steph. He'll be fine.
Yes,
It's the rest of the team, but Steph will be fine.
Draymond and Jimmy on that defensive end, I think, and that's one thing that's not going to falter is the defense. The defense is not going to falter between Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green.
And
those two are going to bring that as consistency.
And I can say the same thing. And these are older guys now, Ox. Like these aren't spring chickens. These are older guys going up against spring chickens, right? Going up against this Houston team.
So wait, you got more faith. You got more faith in them kids playing defense than you do with Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green?
Older Jimmy Butler and older Draymond Green.
No, he doesn't.
I'm not saying that, Ox. What I am saying is that
I'm not knocking the Rockets. I'm just saying, so you got more faith in them young pups playing defense consistently for in the 7-game series over Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green.
I think that you just called them young punks. Now you saying you?
I said young pups.
Ox, to answer your question, I think that this team, this Houston team, can control a series defensively, collectively. I do think that they can.
Is their defense better than the Warriors since they got Jimmy?
Since they got Jimmy, I don't know because our defense has been up and down.
Yeah, up and down. Yeah,
but
I
still think our defense is better than the Warriors.
I just think that people are a little too lost in like what happened last. I just don't because I don't know how any of us. I don't know who it is. The Rockets see anybody but Memphis and maybe the Clippers in the first round. I don't think anybody up here is going to say the Rockets are going to win that series. It's not that they can't. So I want to be clear about that. It's not that they can't, but I think we're just going to favor the matchups on the other end. Unless I might be wrong, but like I think we would favor the other team in those matchups just because we think they can get.
If the playoffs started today, it's over. The regular season and the play-in tournament is over. They got to see Minnesota.
I'm taking Minnesota, dog.
I think we have a shot.
The Rockets have a chance. Just off the strength of your defense,
I can't tell you where we
against any of these guys.
And since Jimmy made his debut, so February 8th to now, the Rockets have the number 1 defense in the league.
Shouts.
The Warriors are 5th, but the Rockets have the number 1 defense in the league in that time. Houston 1, Detroit 2, Toronto 3, Orlando 4.
Shout out
Penn.
So Orlando 4?
Yeah, Orlando 4.
Where's OKC? 8th?
7, but I'm assuming the last 2 games have really hurt that number.
We need to have a conversation about SGA not hitting shots versus
we're definitely about to have a conversation about SGA, and we're definitely about to have a conversation about the Thunder because, well, they're on a 2-game winning streak, and I'm gonna tell you what the Thunder's problem is.
You mean losing streak? Bro?
Losing streak.
Their problem is they're not properly fueled. You see, what the young guys over there in Oklahoma City need to do is get on the meal plan with Factor Meals. And how they can do that? Well, they can go to factormeals.com and use promo code Players Choice 50 off. Shay, get your boys right. But Factor Meals, they have ready to optimize nutrition for the whole year. They have chef-made gourmet meals that make eating, well, easy as heck. They are dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes so you can fuel right and feel right no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active and busy lifestyle. You can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals based on randomized controlled clinical trial in Factor Keto. Results will vary depending on diet and exercise, but that's obvious. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on a menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored specifically for your goals. Factor can help you fuel right and feel right for those long days with, well, wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-to-go snacks, and more add-ons. So reach your goals this year with ingredients that you can trust and convenience that you just quite frankly can't beat. Eat smart with Factor Meals. Get started right now at factormeals.com/playerschoice50 off. Use code PlayersChoice50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping and handling. That's code PlayersChoice50 off at factormeals.com/PlayersChoice50 off to get $50 off your first box. All right, Don't be like Shea and OKC boys. Get fueled right so you can feel right. Fellas, let's talk about this 2-game losing streak, because we spoke on the Rockets beating up on the Thunder, but as if that wasn't enough. Or no, we spoke about the Thunder losing to the Lakers, and we spoke a little bit about the Rockets, but how do we feel about the Thunder right now?
If I'm not mistaken, Shea in these last 2 games, he shot 1 free throw in these last 2 games.
He's made one. He shot 2. He made one.
Okay, so he's made 1. He shot 2 free throws in these last 2 games. I think the point of emphasis with both Houston and the Lakers when dealing with Shea is to not foul, not to go for steals to get yourself in foul trouble. Stay in front of him. Keep your hands busy, but keep your hands away to the point where you're fouling. You don't want to do that. You can be physical with him, but not be too physical where you're fouling. When he has the ball, do your best to stay in front of him, beat him to spots, and block out when he shoots the basketball. You're going to have to deal with him in the mid-range, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Lakers, I mean, I think they made 22 threes yesterday, Ron, if I'm not mistaken. I think they made 22 threes. 86%. I've been doing some homework. 86% of teams that have made 23s or more win. That means 4 out of every 5 teams that make 23s or more win. So am I asking the Lakers to shoot 22 threes? Is this what it's going to take to beat Oklahoma City? Well, to blow them out, yes. But to beat them, it's going to have to be something in the middle and to slow down those other guys. And I think that they did a really good job in slowing down and taking those other guys out of everything that they were doing.
I mean, yeah, the Lakers had the magnets last night. We can call a spade a spade. Like, it is what it is. They shot unreasonably well from 3, but the Lakers also executed well. So both things are true. The process was better than it usually is.
You did wrong.
But so the process was better than it usually is, but they still shot uncharacteristic.
Minus that heave at half court from Austin Reeves, they were 15 to 21 from 3 in the first half, Marcy.
Yeah, that's uncharacteristic. So we can chalk that up to variance game, blah blah blah. That's not sustainable. But the process in which they were generating those looks, sustainable. If OKC play a similar style of defense, that's sustainable. So I like that. Shea's also just this stretch, like the last 8-9 games or
Nothing great.
Worst stretch of his season. Do with that information what you will. It's not like he's
Joker
bad.
is getting up the church money. Joker is straight getting the church money up.
He's still. I mean, Shea's still going to win the MVP. He'll be like this doesn't have MVP implication. I mean, Denver have lost like 12 straight. So,
no respect for.
Close enough. Shea will be fine in that regard, but he is having like his worst stretch of the season. He's shooting like 45% from the field. Such a bum. But like it hasn't been great. It hasn't been great. J-Dub had a really bad game last night. The non-Shea Thunder players for the last 2 games haven't been good. That was like my game plan. It's like you gotta hope the guys just aren't sustainable offensively. Last couple games they haven't been, but since January they have been. So I'm not looking too much into that. Overall, I'm not having a whole think piece on are the Thunder real contenders? Are they still the best team in the West?
No, we're not doing that.
Yes, they are still contenders. Yes, they are still the best team in the West. I do think they are beatable. I've been very consistent on that. I think the 3 teams with the best chance to beat them are Golden State, Denver, and Minnesota. But I think the Lakers do present some sort of matchup problems with just like you can't blitz Luka if the Lakers are prepared to counter blitzing. And what I mean by that is like if the Lakers are just standing around and you blitz Luka, you have a chance. But if the Lakers are consciously trying to beat the blitz,
you mean like moving the ball, Mars? You mean people
moving the ball, getting to the proper spacing, having everyone where they need to be.
Yes.
If the Lakers are going to counter the blitz, you can't just routinely blitz Luka. That's not a viable strategy, especially when you're going to have Reeves and LeBron, who are some of the better decision makers in the league. That's just not sustainable. So the Lakers do present some matchup issues. So they would probably be like the 4th team on my list. But then the Clippers present some weird matchup. Basically, the West is really tough. Like, I think OKC could lose to.
They've lost to all those teams.
Like OKC could lose to a few teams, but I also still favor them in every series. So I'm not worried about OKC. I still think they're the best team in the West, but they could lose, and there's different ways in which they could lose to a bunch of different teams because everyone in the West is like good. So,
and I think that we also leave out because I watched this yesterday too. The idea of blitz and Luka. We've seen Luka get blitzed. Luka gets blitzed, he gets the ball right back. He's one of those guys who, once he gets blitzed, he runs right back to the ball, which throws the defense off balance because you guys are scrambling all over the place. But what you can't do against Luka is you can't leave Hartenstein on him one-on-one. That's not going to work. We have to do something different, right? So we have to get Hartenstein. We guys like Case and Wallace, Right? Guys like Lou Dort, you guys got to fight over screens. You have to, because I can't have Harden, because that was an action that they consistently went to early in the game, where Luka and Hartenstein are 1-on-1, 22, 23 feet away from the basket. I don't want that. No, absolutely not. Because what he's going to do is he's going to drag him out to the deep water, especially the way that they were hitting threes yesterday. He's going to drag him out to the deep water, and he's going to crack him. And once that happens, now your defense is spread all over the place. So we got to get Hartenstein off of that island.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I really do try not to be super reactionary at this point, because I've been really soft on Cleveland. I don't care about what Cleveland's done in the last 3 weeks. Like, there was no incentive for them. I think OKC, obviously, they're not playing with the same level of intensity as they normally would, because there's no reason for them to. But I do think the Lakers deserve credit for beating them, especially how they beat them. Their defense locked in. And Dorian Finney-Smith is, like, I think, going to be one of the stories of the playoffs. He was 4 or 5 from 3 yesterday. His defense, bless you, was really good yesterday. His ability to stay in front. He's a good switch defender. He's a good weak side help defender. He just does a lot of really important things for them. And I think him, Luka, Braun, Reeves, that's their quartet for me. Like, that's it. Like, how do they play together? And I think he deserves a lot of credit. I think JJ deserves a lot of credit. You know, OKC, they faced versus that Lakers, like, pack paint thing, and it worked because J-Dub and them sucked. Like, they just weren't good yesterday. And they made their shots. It was a blowout, but then literally like 2 days prior to this, we saw the Warriors knock their socks off just because they couldn't guard the Warriors, and the Warriors played really good defense, and Luka sucked. So I think the Lakers are in between both of those realities. They can beat OKC, but they can get dog walked by the Warriors and stuff as well. I think Luka had a really good game yesterday. He made his shots. He created a lot of really good looks yesterday. So it's going to be interesting. But I think to Marge's point, there is no infallible team in the West. None of them. The least flawed team is OKC. But if you don't play up to your snuff in a series, what? Like, you can lose to anybody. In the West, the thing is the way with the CBA works. The way the CBA works is this is how it was designed. Owners wanted to be cheap, but they also wanted to flatten out the talent level. You have legitimately, I think, 6 teams in the Western Conference that all have an argument for why we can make it out the West. 6 of them, because they all have things they're really good at. It just depends on who they play. And OKC, respect to them. If they got to play the Wolves, Lakers, Denver, Wolves, Lakers, and I don't know, Houston or something like that, that's going to be a lot, dog. Like, that's a lot of teams to play against that can take advantage of you.
Yeah, I want to ask y'all a Laker question, and it's gonna sound obvious, but I need y'all to stay with me though. Do the Lakers go as Luka goes? And yes, that sounds obvious, but I'm saying, does Luka have to play spectacular for them to win?
I don't know about spectacular, Ron. I don't know about spectacular, but I mean, he adds an element that they didn't have, and now with him off the floor, they got to do way more than what they would have to do if he wasn't on the floor. So, with adding him, and when he's going like he's going, like cracking the three like he was cracking three, getting downhill, and I mean, he threw a pass to Gabe Vincent yesterday. He had 3 guys on him and threw a pass over his head to Gabe Vincent, who I didn't even see in the corner. And Gabe Vincent cracked the 3. Like, you get that kind of stuff going, Ron. That's stuff that you can't replace. So to have Luka on the floor, that makes them so much better as a unit, just offensively. That makes them so much better as a unit.
Sure, but I'm saying, does he have to be making shots? Or
yes.
Do they not?
He can't just be out there, Ron. No, he cannot just be out there. Like, we can't survive in the playoffs against a really good Houston team, a really good Oklahoma City team, with Luka going 5 for 18 or 6 for 20. No, we can't survive with that. No.
I think if you're talking about, Ron, if the question you're asking is to like to win the championship, absolutely. Like, if you're talking about winning the championship, if you're talking about just a respectable playoff run. If you're talking about winning a championship, then Luka absolutely has to play amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, for sure. No, there's no
Luka has to play well for your team with Luka on it to have a chance.
Right. I mean, he's gonna.
I know you said the question sounds obvious, but yeah, like, it is obvious, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked is because obviously this team without Luka, they still, like, you still got Braun, you still got Reeves, but can they?
That's not gonna get it done.
Yeah. But
there's an element that Luka
not with as much as Luka has the ball.
Yeah,
like,
there's an element that
Luka dictates most possessions. So if he's not playing well, regardless of who you have around him, because he's so involved, you're gonna limit your ceiling and your floor because you're giving him the ball every play. So that's why I think you need Luka to play well, not make every shot like he was doing last night, but he has to play well.
And then he also brings the element that other teams don't have neither. So, like with him having the basketball, if he's turning the ball over, okay, that's more opportunities for the offense. Plus, Luka is what he is on defense. So Luka's got to make sure that he takes care of the ball. Luka's got to get guys involved like he always does. These are things that are necessary for the Lakers. If Luka's not doing that, then they don't have a shot at winning. In addition to him not being able to shoot the basketball at an efficient rate. No. He's got to play. He's got to be good.
Is it kind of as simple as that? And the reason I'm asking is because obviously we seen Luka go off last night. We seen Luka have 30. He went 5 for 11 from 3. And when that 3 ball's falling for Luka, he's damn near unstoppable. But remember the last game we seen him play, 2 games ago against the Warriors. Swipe has spoke about it a little bit. They lost to the Warriors 123 to 116. LeBron had a good game. He scored 33. Austin Reeves came through with 31. Luka had 19 points. And we spoke about it on Friday. Shot 6 for 17 from the field and went 0 for 6 from 3. And they lost.
Ron, is very much like we talked about with Cleveland. It's very much like we talked about with Oklahoma. Oklahoma City can't survive with J-Dub 17 points or 4 for 14. They can't. As good as they are with them shooting the basketball the way that they do, they need J-Dub to get busy. He's their second guy. The Boston Celtics, all of the Cleveland can't survive with Evan Mobley 13, 14 points. That's not going to get it done. No, that's not going to get it done. So, and I got a question for you guys once we're done with this, because I heard something really, really good, and I wanted to hear what you guys had to say about that. But to answer your question, Ron, they need Luka to beat Luka in order for them to have a shot to win the NBA championship.
All right, well, all accounts indicate that Luka's going to be Luka come playoff time. And come playoff time, you need to get into the game by downloading the GameTime app, and you'll have perfect access to watch what Luka Doncic and Jokic, Giannis, and all the superstars in the league are going to do. So let's just talk about the NBA games in the playoffs for a quick second. You know that heart-pounding, I can't feel your face type of energy when your team's on the court. It's like you're a part of a big, chaotic, beautiful family of screaming strangers. And that's the kind of magic you don't want to miss out on. But in order to get in this environment, well, first you have to actually have the tickets to the game. And that in and of itself is a whole nother circus. Unless you have the GameTime app, which is the MVP of all ticketing apps, and there's no competition, period. So let me break it down for you. GameTime makes buying tickets so easy that even your granny can do it. 2 taps on your phone and boom, you're in. You want to see the view of your seats before you buy them? Don't worry, GameTime's got you. Don't want to have to deal with sneaky fees? Don't worry, GameTime has all-in prices, which means no surprises. Oh, and last-minute tickets. GameTime's like, don't even sweat it. We got tickets all the way up until tip-off and even after the game starts. Talk about an MVP. Now, this is what y'all need to do. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime Picks. All you got to do is download the app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again, but create an account and redeem your code using CLNS, and you will get $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Obviously, it's game time. And also, fellas, you need to bundle GameTime into PrizePicks. Now, download the GameTime app and then download the PrizePicks app and run your game, control your game, and win your game. The cool thing about PrizePicks is when you use promo code PANEL, you will get $50 back instantly when you play just $5. Who else does that? Just gives you $50? So here's what you need to do. Once again, download the app, run your game, control your game, and win your game, and you will get promo funds of $50 when you use promo code PANEL. And we're going to show you guys what we do on PrizePicks right here and now. Big Ox, you made some picks, right? DeMar.
Certainly did. Kept it real light today, too. I can only see 2 games. There's only 2 games tonight, y'all? Well, anyways, of those 2 games I saw the one that intrigued me the most clearly was the Sacramento Kings versus the Detroit Pistons. I took DeMar DeRozan making more than 1.5 threes. That's a demon pick. Cade Cunningham took him to go less than 26.5 points. And Jalen Duren and Domantas Sabonis for the rebounds combo of 23.5. Domantas will have 16 himself, so Jalen has an easy job to do tonight. $20 to pay 130. Easy money.
It looked like quick and easy work to me.
Yes, there is only 2 games, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I saw that's what I was thinking. But
there we go. Well, y'all do the same thing. Be like Big Ox. You know, put a little money on these 2 games and put a little money on these 2 games. All right, there you have it. That's how we rocking. All right, fellas. Before we get back to the games in OKC, because I do want to talk about that OKC and Thunder game, or the OKC and Rockets game. My bad. Before we do that, though, Jason Grill sent through a super chat, $50. He said, "Can we, as a community, please stop holding these media voted awards so high? People who love these awards like DPOY, MVP, All Defense, and All NBA, but then act like AD, Tim, Drew, Bam, and KG having only 1 DPOY plus making Rose and Russ the MVP is just okay."
Let's take employee of the month. Let's take employee of the year. Let's take all of that stuff and throw it out of the window. Let's just show up to work and just do your job. Let's just take all of that stuff and get rid of it. No, that's
What's wrong with that?
No. There's a reason why people work the way that they work. There's
nothing wrong with the awards. Just people just don't like
nothing wrong with them. None.
I don't think he said remove the awards. I think
he said not placing as much importance.
Regard.
Those things matter.
Yeah,
they matter.
It's voted on. It's voted on. Like you can't prove that this is. You know what I'm saying? You can't prove these things. These are just all.
We vote on everything.
I don't know, Jason.
Democracy.
I don't think he's saying remove the awards.
No, but he said take.
He's saying us as fans.
Can you put it back up?
No, I heard what he said. Stop holding.
We are winning the MVP. So he's saying, why do we hold it in such high regard?
Because to me, it matters being the league MVP. It matters to me being the defensive player of the year. It matters to me.
He said what he said was, please stop holding these media voted awards so high.
I think it matters. It definitely matters. It definitely matters to the person to win. It matters. I think people should play for the award. What I think we should stop doing is talking about, this person's better just because they were fourth in the MVP voting or stuff like that. Like that doesn't prove anything, because on top of that too, like I've said before, Chill, you have said a bunch of times too, we've all acknowledged that there's bias in voting. We've acknowledged that there's voting fatigue. We have acknowledged that the voting has been swayed by crazy narratives pushed by certain people. When we acknowledge those things, we have to then accept the fact that it's tainted. And when it's tainted to that level, we cannot hold these awards so highly when we're discussing things like who's better or who's more impactful. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it matters. Put that in your trophy case. You earned it. But I'm not gonna give you you're better than him because you were 5th in MVP voting and they were 6th or 7th. That it's bull stuff.
Well, I think some of this is the real conversation to be had is fixing who's involved in the electoral process. That's the actual thing to fix. I do not believe Kendrick Perkins, who should have an MVP vote. He should. I don't believe Stephen A. Smith.
No,
I don't. So there's a governing body within the NBA that hands out MVP votes based on the networks and the markets that you're in. So if you're a long-standing member of a local network or a local market, then you will receive an MVP vote or awards vote. Shout out Claire on the Lakers side. She works for the Guardian, I believe. She just got her first year of like voting power. You work for ESPN, NBC, Fox Sports. Those kind of people get votes. I think
why is Claire qualified? Not saying she's not. I don't know who Claire is. I'm not disrespecting her. Shout out to you, Claire. Keep up the good work. But why is she qualified?
Well,
what makes her more qualified than Kendrick Perkins or Stephen A. Smith?
I think in large part the idea is that if you're a writer or you're someone who focuses on like talking about the sport to a degree and breaking the game down, they're hoping that you're watching enough film and you're watching enough games to be able to determine with a credible theory of who deserves what. First team all NBAs, first team all defense, most improved. But I do think, Ox, to your point, like right now, Ox, remember I told you, matter of fact, Mars is guilty of this because he was being a casual about this. Remember when I said that I would give DeMontis Sabonis if there was a third team all defense team, I would consider putting him on my third team this year.
Yeah.
And Mars was like,
he hasn't been a top 15 defendant. Yeah.
I disagree with Mars. But I feel like from my vantage point, from what I've watched from Sabonis this year he would deserve at least due diligence to be considered for that spot. I think a lot of people don't do that work. remember, Gil's Arena and them, they told Stephen A. Smith a month ago. Because Stephen A. Smith said a month ago, I made my mind up. I know who I'm voting for. It's like, damn, well, there's 2 months left in the year.
Right.
Like, how do you do that? Right. Like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen were all the way to the end of the year this year in the NFL. So I do think the process in the NBA is way worse than the NFL and MLB.
Who did win the MVP in the NFL this year?
Josh Allen won MVP and Lamar won first team All-Pro.
Josh got it. Okay.
They gave Lamar first team All-Pro and then gave Josh Allen the MVP. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, let me ask you this, though, because you said that they believe, or they at least hope that person's watching enough. How much is enough? How much information do I need to consume in order for my vote to really be qualified?
Enough to be able that when I ask you, Ox, why is Sabonis an all-league defender this season, and you can give me legit logic on why he's an all-league defender.
I could anybody could do that. I could do that. I could do that about Bam, and I guarantee I have not watched enough Bam Adebayo this year to tell y'all if I think he should be second.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference with that, though, Ox. Then there's somebody who will come in and go, okay, you clearly have not been watching Bam this season.
How you know?
You clearly haven't been. These cameras go off. You just said you just said you haven't been watching the Miami Heat.
Yeah, but if I was a voter, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't disclose the information.
The point is that there's people who will poke holes in your logic because basically what you're going off of. Okay, he did that last year. He did that this year. What happened when he got his ass kicked against? What happened when he did this against this team? What did you watch him when he pulled down 14 rebounds, but he had 5 turnovers and 5 fouls? Did you watch him do that? So this is what I'm talking about.
We have so much access to information, right, Chill? So much access to information. I believe, now y'all could disagree. I believe myself personally, I can go look at all the box scores from this year and I can make up some bullshit about why I think Bam Adebayo is doing this, and y'all cannot prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because Bam is a hell of a defender.
Depends on what you ask or what you say.
I can look at enough numbers. What I'm saying is nobody's running these dudes down when they make their vote. Nobody's running these dudes down. And what was he doing January 5th? What did he play? Nobody's doing that.
Well, some people are. Some people are.
That's the point I'm making though. Like you can't discredit none of the voters because we can't determine how much ball they watch.
Yes, you can. We've done this before.
If y'all give me a vote, run. If y'all gave me a vote, I can 100% right hand to God guarantee y'all I would lie.
But that's what I'm saying.
100%. I would make it seem like I'm watching all these games. And my feet are on the sofa. I'm watching 5 games a night because I don't want to lose my voting power. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't do the due diligence, but I literally can't watch enough basketball for y'all to be satisfied that I'm watching enough. Y'all would never be satisfied.
I just disagree with that though, Ox. Personally, I think you can easily refute some people in their process and why they went into voting. Respectfully, we've done this before. Like
box score watches, for example.
Yeah,
box score watches.
Yes.
I'm talking about box score watches.
Yeah, I'm addressing the voters, bro. I'm saying you can disprove a lot of reasons why people say and do some of the things they say. Because a lot of people do it based on narratives. Like for instance, right now, there are a lot of people. Their entire MVP vote has come down to winning. Like in winning bias, they can't make a player for player argument, but they're going straight to the winning bias. A lot of people are going into the DPOY thing because they looked at Dyson Daniels steals and deflections.
Why do you vote on the president that you vote on?
Why do you? For several different reasons.
Okay, so you're making your vote based on your reason, whether it's accolades, whether it's
but voting.
He had those reasons though, Ron.
Because
he has the vote.
I agree with Ron.
I
agree with Ron.
You agree with Ron that voting for the presidential election is the same as voting for most improved players?
I agree with Ron that if there's no set criteria, everyone's gonna have their own standard. And acting as if your standard is just superior to someone else when it's all arbitrary.
People do have, and I see. We don't exist in the same mindset with this at all. There are people that have better processes in determining who gets a vote than others, objectively. Because I think personally, if you actually, there are plenty. Matter of fact, people don't even like him. I know for a fact, Matt Moore, Action Network, He spends more time every year. Like one of the things that was circulating among a lot of media members this year is when the SGA information about when he's isolated this year, like the isolation stats versus SGA versus number one offensive options, all that stuff. And he's outperforming all the rest of his teammates on a point per possession as a defender. That came from Matt Moore, who did all the synergy work, all the behind the scenes work to get that number. And then other people took that information and ran with it and built a DPOY argument for SGA for. Right. I know people like him are doing the groundwork. I know people like Tim Legler are doing the groundwork. I know people like what's the name that just got the job with the Ringer chill. He got fired from ESPN. Zach Lowe. These people actually dive into the actual film, numbers, data to tell the story of what actually this player does well, what they don't do well relative to their peers. I personally think there's a way for you to go into that and come away with a great assertion about what's happening on the court. What I'm saying is, Mars, a lot of people, they just regurgitate other information they've heard and narratives. And I think that's not doing a true service to what you've been asked to do with 100 voters.
Which is why, to Swiper's point, when they get challenged on it, that's somebody else's logic. They can't defend it. That's why they have
if Matt Moore is doing all the due diligence, and we can trust him when we trust and respect his, what he's doing. It's just like a textbook, right? If whoever made that, if I trust them, can't I use that information to better my understanding?
Yeah, but I think that's the same thing we do with. So to take it to Ron's point, I actually think that's one of the reasons why in the electoral process we're so dumb, and I mean dumb as in a lack of information, not like dumb as in conceivability.
Look, dumb too.
I think people don't read, they don't research, they just go off what they've heard. And so they like somebody says, well, the economy is going to be cheaper this way, so I'm going to vote this way. When actually, no, it's not going to be cheaper at all. That's something they told you. I think if you actually look at what you're going for, the policies behind what you're voting for, I think that helps. I think you actually can come to a good determination on your own if you do the work, but most people don't do the work.
So if we're doing that, maybe we can shorten the amount of votes that we have. And what I mean when I say that is, maybe we, to your point, Mars, we could get a criteria. Well, if we can get a criteria, we could get a criteria with shortened votes. We don't need 50 people voting for the league MVP. Maybe it's 20. Maybe it's 15 people voting for the league MVP, and we can have a set criteria. Because if you got, I can get 15
losing the MVP 11-9.
That's close.
Yeah, I mean,
well, it would have to be an odd number, chill.
I agree. I agree. It needs to be a criteria.
21 votes.
But if it's no criteria,
I feel like I can get 20 people more on the same page, or as opposed to 50 people on the same page. And if I can get 20 people on the same page,
go ahead, Ox. Go ahead.
In terms of criteria, then we can have a better idea of what the criteria is. Who should be who be the league MVP? So I mean, to have 50 people voting on it, that 35th guy, he's not watching. He's not watching.
But chill, we can't.
Why is he not watching? But the first guy is.
That's what I'm saying. 50
That's
people.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, unless you're literally locking people in a room and forcing them to watch these games to make their vote mean something.
Yeah, but that I feel like we're.
Do y'all believe that y'all are equipped enough with all the knowledge? I'm asking everybody up here. Do y'all think that y'all could vote on every award? DPOY, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, MVP, first team, second team, third team.
I personally believe so.
Do y'all believe that y'all vote will be educated enough to really count for every single?
And Mars is lying. I believe everybody up here is equipped.
I couldn't tell. I'm
not right. I watch a lot of basketball. I don't believe I should be. I don't believe I should.
I could not tell you with a level of conviction that I would feel comfortable where I can determine legacies. Why? I mean, the Rookie of the Year award is
Mark, you're not determining it.
That's what accolades do. They determine legacy.
That is determining, Ron.
You're not going to lie now.
Your vote counts, Ron. Your vote matters. Your vote matters, Ron.
Legacies are determined by accolades. So my vote will determine legacy.
I get that. Check out what I'm saying.
Well, I didn't even get to finish what I was saying.
Keep going.
No, you said you're not determining legacies.
Keep going.
I'm saying you're not.
As you were saying, Mars.
They're not a dictator, Mars. It's just a vote. Like I'm saying, it's not.
What do you mean, Ron? That's a
Mars is not the end all be all.
But his vote counts.
Then if my vote isn't that significant, then the next man's vote isn't that significant. Then
everybody's vote's equally as significant. Like yes, you contribute.
And that's my point. That means I'm responsible.
You
for
can't say
someone's
that, Ron. Because
wait, so Mars, wait, hold on, Mars. Are you in your own estimation with that same logic? Are you like, do you not? And I'm asking it genuinely, not a troll. Like, do you not participate? Would you not participate in like your civic duty to vote? Like, well, hold on, like to like vote like in a local or national election? Because
I wouldn't, but that's a whole different question.
That's what I'm saying. That's ridiculous. Like I think this idea, especially if you are paid to do this, respectfully, I genuinely mean this. If I'm an engineer in real life, for instance, Chill, you know what I do professionally outside of this. I have a responsibility to learn and research about issues in civil rights over the last 100 years. That's my job. I know I have to be educated enough to educate other people and talk about these things. It's the same damn thing. If your job is to cover the NBA and vote, and you're not doing the due diligence, you shouldn't have your job. And I think the idea that in March, this is why, but this is why I declined the job. No, because this is the issue. People want the prestige. People want the prestige that comes with being a voter, but they don't want the responsibility to do the work. That's what I'm telling you is the problem. I believe that if you accept the responsibility to be a dad, to be a voter, to be a spouse, you accept to do the work.
I get what you're saying.
But I'm saying anything.
Wait. Let me get that off.
Voting in a local election is relevant to voting for an MVP award. But I declined whoever asked.
I want Mars. I
declined. You said no.
I declined it, so I actively declined.
I mean, who? Wait, Chill. Who can be a teacher then?
Wait. Mars, you had a point that you were going off of before we got sidetracked. Mars, as you were saying.
What I was saying was, right now, I don't think, and Rookie of the Year may be a bad example because it's not legacy defining the same way an MVP award is.
Sure.
But I couldn't tell you with a level of conviction that I feel is good enough to determine legacies why Stephon Castle is the Rookie of the Year over Zachary Risachet. I couldn't tell you that. Not because I don't think I've watched enough Spurs or watched enough Atlanta Hawks. I just know I couldn't tell you with enough level of conviction where I'm determining legacies why that's the case. When I'm just talking on the panel and we're talking hoop, yeah, I can tell you I think Stephon Castle might be better because of this. But when it comes down to like, this is a tangible thing that determines players' salaries, determines their legacies, which I think is a whole different conversation. I don't feel right now, as presently constructed, I'm comfortable enough to do that and then also tell you who I think the 10 best defenders in the league have been. I think Amen Thompson should be all defense. I've said that. Draymond, Evan Mobley, those guys, that's cool. Then we get to the 9th and 10th person on the all defensive team. I couldn't tell you who that is. I couldn't tell you who I think the 9th best defender in the league has been. So I'm just saying, if you offered me that opportunity right now, I would decline it. Now, if I got given that opportunity and they basically said you have to take it, then I would do my best to do my due diligence. I would watch as many teams as I can. Sure. But right now, I know if I had a vote, my third team All NBA would not be one that I am sold on with 100% conviction that I could say, this is why I chose every single decision and I stand by every single one 100%. And if I don't think I can stand by my decision 100%, I don't think that I should have a vote because these determine players' legacies and salaries. So if I'm not 100% convinced of my decision, I don't want to vote on that decision. That's why I would decline.
Which is fair, Mars. Which is fair, Mars. But when you come up here every day, you are 100% convinced about what meant.
I'm not 100% convinced about anything.
Well, you sound like you are. You 100% sound like you are.
But that's different.
You talk with conviction.
I feel like we're going backwards.
You talk with conviction about. You talk with conviction about Amen Thompson. You talk with conviction about Steph Curry. You talk with conviction about a lot of guys in the league, which means that you're very educated on what's going on in the NBA today. So I don't think that because now I've asked you, hey, Mars, here's $10,000 and here's an MVP vote. Here, Mars, here's $10,000 and here's an all-NBA vote. Now I need you to vote on that. Mars, you've been able to dissect what a team does offensively because you've watched this team. You've watched the
consequences to me doing it on the panel.
Well,
this idea that you're just gonna, but that doesn't. What doesn't make sense about
do you know how many times I've been wrong up here?
But this is not voting. So, but Mars, if you I know, Mark. I'm not disagreeing with that.
I feel I'm very knowledgeable about the game of basketball. Yep. A lot of people disagree with that. That's fine. I feel I'm very knowledgeable about the game of basketball. I feel I've learned a lot in the last 2 years. I've been maybe we're approaching 3 years. 3 years. We've been more than 3 years.
No, I agree.
3 years I've been up here. I feel I've learned a lot. I feel I've grown a lot from where I was 3 years ago. Go back and watch me 3 years ago. It was a lot more stat based, a lot less nuance to the game. Absolutely, I've grown a lot. What I'm saying on the panel. There's no consequences. It doesn't affect any players' salaries. It doesn't affect any coaches' jobs. It doesn't affect any of that.
Sure.
And I'm still wrong all the time. I'm wrong. No matter how many people may agree with me in the chat and think I rationalize my opinions well, I think I do rationalize my takes well, even if they turn out wrong. But I'm wrong a lot. A lot.
But with these other guys
I'm wrong with no consequence. So I'm fine. I can be like, yeah, I was wrong about that. That's fine. I've changed my mind. But when it comes down to MVPs, all defensive teams, things that determine players' contracts, things that determine how they are viewed historically, things that affect endorsement deals, all of that stuff that affect people's livelihoods,
with their responsibility,
you can't afford to be wrong. That's how I'm viewing it. You can't afford to be wrong. So
well, then, Mars, who should be making those decisions then for you?
I think, in my opinion, these awards either A, shouldn't have contractual implications.
The writers agree with that.
Or B, they should have a set criteria that everyone has to follow. So it's not you remove. You remove the amount of subjectivity. Like whether the criteria, like I don't know what the criteria would have to be. I'm not a genius.
No.
Sure.
I think step one is absolutely remove the contractual implications. Absolutely remove.
100%.
I don't like that. 100%. I don't like that.
And then step two would be have every voter follow a certain criteria. I can't decide what the criteria for defensive player of the year is. I don't know what that is. But if every voter is following the same rule book, you remove the narratives. You remove the biases. If it's just the defensive player of the year is this, who checks these boxes, that's the defensive player of the year. If that's what it was, you would remove.
Well, we do have analytics though, but this is where
some people weigh analytics differently.
I know, but this is where we're skewing the conversation back though, because we do have analytics that tell us the story of who does something the best. But I think the problem is now you have to apply context behind why you got there. So that's why I don't ever think you'll have 100% subjectivity on any of these things, or rather objectivity on any of these things, because there's so many things that go into what makes a player good at something, including team construct and all those things. I think all has to be considered. But I guess, Mars, the reason you and I stand on opposite ends of the spectrum, even though we agree in principle, is that we both believe personal responsibility is huge here. And you don't want to take a role that you don't feel like you're adequately qualified for because you don't want to affect other people negatively, which I understand. What I'm saying is that the people in positions of power in America, by and large, including MVP voters, they don't take their job serious enough. Therefore, they are affecting other people's lives negatively. And I think in the MVP race or in the All-NBA stuff, they're not doing the work.
So we got
because of that, but I'm saying that if you ask me and say going into the year, we need you to be able to, as best to your best ability. The same way if you ask me to be a branch manager for an organization, for a company, or to be a finance manager or whatever else it is, to the best of your ability, we need you to lead this department well. We need you to make the votes as well as you can. Mark, it's the same thing when you go to school or you run for a governing body or something like that. Like, I've been given the task of helping these people to get where they want to go. I've been given the task to vote to the best of my ability based on the research that's in front of me. So I'm going to do that job, and I believe I'll do that job better than most other voters. And I don't say that disrespectfully. I know a lot of these people, and I hear them all the time. I think their logic is 100% flawed. Like, not all of them. A lot of them are really good. But I think especially when you get to the national level, it's so built into narratives that I think that's a part of the actual issue. Go ahead, Ox.
Right. So that's my point, Swiper. Like, everything you're saying is why. So when you ask Mars, what would you change or anything like that, right? My thing is I probably wouldn't change anything. Y'all, the voters, keep being the voters. Whatever, except for it being the contractual obligation, stuff like that. Like your contract, like your first team, all team, you get this. It affects the money, right? That's the only thing I might change. Everything else would be the same. Fine, MVP, everything. That's cool. What I would change is the fact that MVP and MVP voting will be law in debates and conversations about who is better than who, legacy talks and stuff like that. All I'm saying is to the super chat, we shouldn't hold all these awards so high when we're discussing who's better than who and stuff like that. That's it. Other than that, y'all, anybody who votes, y'all vote away. I'm fine with that.
These guys, when we have the league MVP, when we have the defensive player of the year, when we have first team, second team, all pro, there's a reason why these guys play the way that they play. The reason why that they play at that level is because they want to be a part of that. Because it affects who they are.
They should play that way because they're great basketball players and they want to
100% it does.
But you always there's always incentives.
Me and Chill have been having this discussion for over a year. Like 2 years now, and Chill says the same thing every time, and I'm yet to wrap my head around it. It's Draymond Green has been on a campaign to go get his defensive player of the year.
Yes,
I have never questioned that the players want to be recognized as the MVP, the defensive player of the year, whatever the case.
Sure.
Cool. Why should we, as the fans or the people who talk about the game, why do we have to change our analysis of said player based on these awards? Cool, the players want to win them. Whatever. Why is I've seen on the timeline, if Draymond Green wins DPOY this year, he's a top 5 defender ever. Why isn't he already a top 5 defender ever? Why does what the voters determine change your opinion on Draymond Green as a defender?
Because DPOYs matter that much.
I know what
they simply do.
I know the point Mars is making. I do. I get
I understand this point too, but the award matters that much.
But why is our analysis of these guys and what they do on the court contingent on what the voters think of them? I'll never understand that point. The voters' opinion is contingent. Like their ranking, their spot in history as an all-time great defender, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Hakeem, whoever, their ranking as an all-time defender is contingent on what the voters decided that year. Does that make but people do that. The way I've just worded that statement, does that genuinely make sense?
No, it doesn't. But yes, it does. Yes, but Mars, to your point, the reason why is because we do have as basketball analysts up here, like we are. There's 2,200 people up here. People listen to us. But with that being said, we do have people that we like. We do have people that we dig. And the fact that a person wins the league MVP, this is the confirmation bias that we have, because we all have our own biases. This is the confirmation bias that we have. 100%. So when a guy wins the league MVP, that enhances your bias that he is as good as I thought he was. He is as good a defensive player as I thought he was. He is as good of a player.
Do you think that's a good point?
Yes, because when I'm playing at this level, I already feel like this anyway. And because I already feel like this anyway, it gets confirmed that I feel like this, and it makes me, as a basketball fan, let's take the analysts off the table. As a basketball fan, it enhances how I feel about this guy.
Well, because other people agreed with you?
Yes.
Well,
and then when they don't agree with you, you just say the award's wrong.
No, but I think it's two sides to it though. Like
guys get awards wrong, though, Mars.
People chill, but people have always cared about MVPs. Now, to the point though, Mars, I think that you asserting, not you, I'm saying anyone asserting that a player winning an MVP or winning a DPOY in one specific year, that means that player is better or ranked higher than another who doesn't have it or who didn't win. I think that is faulty logic, to your point. But I also do, on the other end of this, I do think if a player wins 4 or 5 DPOYs or 4 or 5 MVPs or wins 10 All-NBA first teams in the span of 10 to 12 years, I think what that does is tell a story of how that player performed relative to their peers over a stretch, because now you have a larger sample size to work with. But the award itself is not really truly what's important. It's the fact that you were winning the award or damn near winning the award almost every year during your prime. And that is something we measure relative to other people. But I also will say the awards work the opposite way, because we saw in the NBA, but in the NFL, they didn't want to give Lamar Jackson a 3rd MVP because he's never been to a Super Bowl. That was a part of why he didn't win. It's like we did not want to over-award a player without having the requisite faulty team success, because that was going to be something that would look detrimental in the future. Like, remember when Jokic was about to win 3 MVPs before he went to an NBA Finals? They said we can't do that because the last person to do that was Larry Bird. And even with like LeBron, they were hesitant to do that with LeBron before he won a title. So I think it works both ways. I think all of that stuff is dumb, Mars. But I do think that winning awards, being in contention to win awards over the stretch of a period of time, I think it tells the story of how good a player was at their apex. But I don't think that should be the full story, Mars. And I think anybody that says that's the full story, I think has a more casual approach to the game. But I think that's the point. Fans care about that stuff. Like, I think there are fans that are just like playoff watchers, they watch 16 games a year on 82. They love the award talk because that gives them something to be a part of. That conversation matters for them. And so I think for you, I understand your pushback with that, if that makes sense. But I do think over a stretch of time, that stuff does matter in the long run.
Yeah, the telling the story, that's true. I wouldn't argue against that. Like, if you want to know who the best players were in the 80s, I mean, it's pretty obvious. You're going to see Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. You're going to see Michael Jordan, Moses Malone, Kareem, etc. And no coincidence, those are the guys that were making All NBA every year. Like, obviously, because no player's winning MVPs and they're not a good player. No player's making All Defense and they're not a good defender. Like that. That's obvious. That stuff goes without saying. So when you say it tells the story, it tells part of the story. Like, it gives you a summary of like an era. For example, the 2010s. Is like you can see LeBron James, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, etc. You could see, oh look, these guys are making All NBA every year. Like, okay, well these are the best players of the era. That stuff is fine. And for the casual fans who aren't as fully engaged in this or who don't do this for a living or whatever the case, they just watch the game, they talk about the game on occasion. It's nice to have that as just a reference point. Okay, who was the best player in 1993? I know I didn't watch the 93 season, but oh, look, Charles Barkley was the MVP. Michael Jordan was obviously the finals MVP, All-NBA first team. Hakeem was there, so I can assume these guys were the top 5 players in the league, blah, blah, blah. Number 32, you can see it. Like, it's all there for you. But if we are people who, I like to believe, watch the game religiously, in Chill's case, has watched the game for 40-plus years, why do we need the summary? Why do we need that? Why can't we just go off what we watched? If we were around in the 2000s, why do I need the summary of, well, in 2003, Tim Duncan was the MVP, therefore Tim Duncan was the best player in the world, when you could just be like, well, I watched the 2003 season, or I've gone back and watched the 2003 season, and I think the best player in the world was whoever. Or I watched 2006, and I know this guy won the MVP, but this guy was better than him, in my opinion. Like,
well, then if that's the case, it needs to be another award. Then it needs to be a best player of the year, best player in the world award, and an MVP award. If that
doesn't need to be an award, like not everything has to be an award. It's just like, this is my opinion. I don't need the player to have an award for my opinion to be more or less valid.
So you're saying strip the MVP award?
No,
just do the hell with
not
it.
saying
That's not what he said.
He just said it doesn't need to be an award.
But
the best player in the world award.
No, but he's saying what Mars just said, that he can go back and watch 2003 or 93 and say that even if Charles Barkley and Tim Duncan won the award, if I think Michael Jordan or Shaquille O'Neal, based on what I've watched, outperformed said player that won MVP, I can say he's the best player in the world without him having an award tied to his name. Like, I have the context of how they actually played that year.
I'm completely opposite though, and I'm not necessarily pushing back on you, Mars. I just love the awards. I love DPOY. I love most player, improved player of the year. I love all of this because it acknowledges who and we can all say that somebody's not deserving. Like, you can go back to 2003 and say, no, this person should have won.
More often than not, the right person does win. Like, I don't. My problem is not with the existence of awards. I've never been just abolish accolades. That what I've always been is, for me and for us people who do this. And we get paid to do this. Newsflash, guys, we aren't doing this for free. We get paid to do this.
Y'all get paid?
Paid?
Well, I know.
As you were saying, Mark,
I see a nice stipend at the end of the day.
I get paid every day. I mean, I get paid. Yes, I do.
So
I mean to talk to you about that, Ron.
So we do this. I don't think our opinion needs to be contingent on what the voters thought. I know I go back and watch these great players religiously. I go back and watch Kobe Bryant. I go back and watch prime Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Hakeem, MJ. So I know I can form my own opinion of these players away from what the awards say. For the casual fans, I understand this. I understand its relevance because what someone in the chat, no one actually in the chat is called Steve. I don't know. I don't see anyone Steve. But Steve in the chat isn't taking the time out of their day because they might work, they might have a family, all of these things, to go back and watch 1996 Shaquille O'Neal. And I'm not blaming him for that. So if he wants to just, how good was Shaq in 1996? Oh, he was all NBA second team. He averaged 27 and 12. I don't know what he averaged. Oh, so he was doing this, and this, and then the Magic lost to the Bulls in the second round. Okay, so Shaq was this good. He was doing this, blah, blah, blah. We can fill in the blanks. But for me, someone who goes back and watches this stuff, I don't need to know if he was all NBA first or second team. I don't need none of that. Either Shaq was the best center in the league to me, or he was the second best center in the league, whatever. I don't need the accolades because I can trust what my eyes are seeing. So if we are who we say we are, if we are who we say we are as these analysts or people who watch the game extensively, all of that stuff. Why do we need the accolades to confirm our own beliefs or to change our own beliefs? Why do we?
That's the thing, though, Mars. You got, and this is what I was saying in the beginning. It's not just one voter that has implications on who wins the MVP or All NBA. It is a pool of people.
Yeah,
now, look, when we do our panel votes, which we'll do in a second, it's going to be a pool of players' choice representatives. Some people are going to think, let's just say Defensive Player of the Year. Some people are going to think Evan Mobley. Hello, chill. Somebody you're going to think Amin Thompson. Somebody's going to think Dyson Daniels. Hello, Ron. And some people are going to be like, yo, that's crazy. But a majority of us are going to agree that this person deserves Defensive Player of the Year. So that I think it is fairness in the numbers. Like if it doesn't matter if they're saying it doesn't. Wrong. No, I'm not arguing. I'm not debating against you. I'm just making a point about why I believe that awards are valid and why I like them. You have a pool of people. Just like how the presidents voted. It's not like they just pick a random guy from Arkansas and say, hey, you choose our president. No, people vote. It is a pool of qualified voters that make it happen. So I'm saying, like, with the awards, if 50 people, and I don't know how many people it is, if it's 50 people that are choosing, all right, we have Draymond Green, we have Evan Mobley, and we have Amin Thompson. Let's say those are the top three. I don't know if they're the top three, but let's just say they're the top three. And they all decide that Draymond Green is the Defensive Player of the Year, whether it's narrative, whether it's because he got that block on LeBron and they won against the Lakers, whether it's because he had 5 blocks in this one game and 3 steals. Regardless of why they came to that agreement individually, because keep in mind, it's their individual decision, which all add up as a collective to who wins it. I think that matters. If you're taking 50 qualified people and they are all making their votes, that matters. Like in 2003, this person won the MVP, and these 50 people said that they won the MVP because this is their reason. To me, that matters.
Well, Ron, when I think about
you disagreed with Steve Nash's MVPs, right?
And I would have been one of the people in there, but the rest of the people voted on Steve Nash. So I was outvoted. And Steve Nash,
but that doesn't change your opinion, right? That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't change my opinion, but it also doesn't change the fact that Steve Nash is the MVP and he was voted on MVP.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so
credit to him.
But what I'm saying is MVP and he deserves that MVP.
No, not my point. I agree. Don't change any of the previous winners. But my point is, in 2006, if you was a voter, you said you would have voted for Kobe Bryant. Steve Nash won it. Yeah. Now we're in 2025. Imagine you had your MVP vote. You wouldn't change your mind to be like, Steve Nash is better than Kobe in 06, right?
No, I wouldn't.
Despite the fact that he has the MVP.
No, I wouldn't.
That's all I'm saying, Ron.
I get that, Mars. What I also want to say to that is the fact that Steve Nash has those 2 MVPs, it puts him in a different light. It allows people to actually realize how good he is.
Does it put him in a different light
for a lot of people? For a lot of people.
For you.
For a lot of it actually does. Without
even
those
though
MVPs,
you disagree with them.
Yeah, without those MVPs, I would not think as highly of Steve Nash as I do. Though it was the fact that he got those MVPs, which made hold on, let me explain myself. The fact that he got those MVPs made me have to really be like, hold on, was he really that good? What did he do this year? How was he able to be effective? Why do people believe that he's actually the MVP? Now, going and doing that due diligence, now even during those years, going and doing that due diligence made me actually realize how special Steve Nash was, how actually what he did with that team was phenomenal, how him shooting 50, 40, 90, being that efficient and being the engine of that team. Okay, Steve Nash is valuable. Now, that doesn't make me think any less of Kobe Bryant, but it did make me think more of Steve Nash. Just like if Jokic was to win his 4th MVP this year, people are going to be like, God damn, how good really is Jokic? I haven't really been paying him too much mind. And now we're talking about the casual people because obviously we're in this and we see what goes on every day. We talk about what goes on every day. But the person who might not be that informed, now they're like, damn, I really got to go pay attention to the Jokic dude because he really is that serious. Same thing with what's going to happen with SGA this year. It's certain people who think SGA is good. I was having this conversation with my dad just last year. Or like earlier this year when I was telling him SGA is probably going to win MVP. He's like, okay, I gotta really start paying attention to why he is an MVP level player. He came back to me 3 weeks later and was like, yo, SGA the best thing going on in the NBA right now. And I'm like, see? So, and that's what I'm saying. These MVP awards, Defensive Player of the Year awards or even all NBA, it shows people that you are playing to a certain standard and you need to be acknowledged. And it also does make people pay attention as well.
Especially relative to the guys that you're going up against. To Swiper's point, when he talked about Charles Barkley winning the league MVP in 1993, well, who did he beat out to win league MVP in 1993? That's the first thing I'm thinking about when I think about Charles Barkley winning the league MVP. Well, he got it over Jordan. Hakeem Olajuwon was fantastic that year. David Robinson was awesome that year, right? So Karl Malone was first team All-Pro, and he was averaging 28 and 20. I think he was averaging 27 and 11 that year, and he was playing at an all he was playing at an all-league defensive level as one of the better defensive players in the game, on the mid-range game, great in transition. And for Charles Barkley to win the league MVP that year, considering what everybody else did, that matters to me. I think about that kind of stuff, and that's not me saying that I'm more of a Charles Barkley fan now than I was back then. No, what I am saying, though, is when I see Joker win the league MVP, I'm seeing Joker win the league MVP relative to a guy averaging 30 a game and a guy who plays his position, a guy averaging 30 a game for 3 straight years and leading the league in scoring. Wow, this guy Joker was getting busy. If he's going up against Joel Embiid, a guy who's averaging 30 and 10 for the 3rd straight year, the best transition player in the game, arguably the best transition player in NBA history, he's going up against him and he's winning league MVP. So when I think about these awards, I think about them relative to the guys that they're going up against, and the fact that you beat this guy out, the fact that that guy's playing at that level, that's a big deal to me. That's why I hold it in such a high regard.
All right, fellas.
But I also really quickly, Ron. But I also want to make the point that I can also talk basketball with you guys without talking about accolades, right? We don't have to bring up all pros. We don't have to bring up league MVPs. We don't have to bring up defensive players of the year. We can talk mano just about basketball. But I just care a lot about you being an all pro because it says a lot about who you are.
Yeah. And they changed the voting process multiple times, by the way. It used to be the players, but then the players didn't know what they were doing. Yep. So they took it away from the players. And so they said,
I respect them.
Well, because the players felt like it was too much responsibility. And then remember, that was the whole Kareem thing in 67 and all that stuff. And so they were like, well, with the CBA agreement, we don't believe that we can do this to the same degree. And then it was handed over to the writers. But then in the ownership also, they wanted to then tie, how can we get out of paying players supermax contracts?
Here we go. Mm-hmm.
Give it to the writers. And then that was the agreement. They just said, give it to the writers. It's the writer's job. But the writers didn't want that responsibility either. The owners just kind of pushed it on them, and then we kind of went from there. So it's just the whole process is messed up. There shouldn't be a supermax contingent on voting.
No, we got to get rid of that. We do. We have to get rid of that.
All right, fellas. Well, everybody that's in here right now, salute to you. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you turn on your notification bells. And make sure you become a Hall of Famer like Multi Kenny. Shout out to Multi Kenny. He was with us on Playback last night. Vale, Tyrus Williams, Minor, Cheese, and SSGSS Popo. Salute to the Hall of Famers. Once again, subscribe and become a member. Fellas, speaking of voters and criteria and all of that, you guys do know that the votes are in for who will be moving to the Final Four of the PCL, right?
Oh boy.
And so
I ain't gonna lie, yo. I'm a little nervous.
Here in about 30 minutes, we will announce who's going to be moving on to the Final Four of the PCL. Before we do that, though, y'all, obviously it is Monday. Happy Monday to everybody. I hope y'all had a good weekend. But y'all know what Monday brings when it comes to the panel. We have our top 5 comments of the week. The people have spoken and we have chosen. I wonder who was the voters who decided the top 5 comments of the week. But that's neither here nor there. I won't reveal the criteria. All I know is we had some people that were chosen. So let's get into it, y'all. The first comment comes courtesy of, hold on, bear with me. A Herbo 18 said,
Airbo
18 said, subscriber sends in a super chat being vulnerable about how they were taken advantage of at a young age. Jordan, Ron, put me on the big screen. Jordan on the big screen. If you a man, anything that happens to you is your fault. Man up. I shouldn't be, but I'm crying, dog.
Yeah, that was bad timing from Jordan.
as well. So.
Horrible timing.
I don't think he meant it how it came out though, y'all. But
yeah,
that
clearly,
was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah, man.
next comment of the week on episode 526. Hopefully that's the right episode. Nook No Ball said, I really listen to Chris Webber and Nikola Jokic debate. I need to lock in on life.
No, Ox is here to keep us on our toes, man. We know what time that was. Shout out
The
my
only
dog,
reason
man.
people think Jokic clears Chris Webber is because he has 3 MVPs and a championship. If you remove the accolades,
well, you can't remove that championship. He earned that 100%, and he earned those MVPs too. 100%. He earned everything.
Okay, but he wasn't on the Fab Five in college or made the Final Four.
Hold on, real quick, Swiper, because I'm not trying to discredit Jokic. Please don't think that's what I'm doing. What I'm saying is, he definitely earned everything he got: MVPs and Finals MVP and the championship. What I'm saying is, we shouldn't be talking about those 3 MVPs in a debate between who's better between him and Chris Webber. The league was way different. It was different people in the league. The way it just holds a different weight. I need to talk about what's going on the hardwood, offensive, defensive, all of that. The MVP holds 0 weight in who's better. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Shout out Ox.
Next comment of the week is from NYK Kareem 2001. Shout out Kareem, or NY Kareem 2001. Kareem said, Ron will be on some total Brick City, clanking everything for 200 episodes straight. Then out of nowhere, he'll pull up on a random Thursday and drop a 50 burger like it's light work. And Mars doesn't know ball.
Ron
that's the episode where Ron was going at Swiper.
Yeah, he shot 0 for 30 because the next 2 games proved exactly my point. Proved exactly my point. And Ron hadn't sent a message of apology the whole time, but that's crazy.
Yeah, Mr. I want to apologize to Ruka.
Nah. And then we had the Warriors game, and then we had yesterday's game out of nowhere, bro. Here come Ron not saying nothing. Shout out to my dog though, man. My dog is 1-on-1. Shout out to Ron. That's crazy. And y'all like that? Ron's cooking. Burnt, cooked, popcorn flying off in the air, dark, black, not edible, no butter.
Just accept that 50 piece you got. All right, Nate the Great 1070 said Steph Curry isn't in the conversation of dangerous player to touch the floor. He is the conversation no one has ever played defense on so bad, and coaches want him out the league. Now, you may be able to argue of the fear Jordan may put in people, but other than that, no one else. There is more of a talk of guarding Steph, and people have to get on the oxygen. It is more of a talk about guarding Steph, and people have to get on oxygen because of what he did to them.
He's the conversation.
He's saying folks, really quickly, from the top, Steph Curry isn't in the conversation of dangerous player to touch the floor. He is the conversation. No one has ever played defense on someone so bad, and coaches want him out the league. Now, you may be able to argue or fear Jordan may put in people, but other than that, no one else. There is more talk about guarding Steph, and people have to go get on oxygen because of what he did to them.
Real quick, y'all, when you send the super chat this long, you got to use proper punctuation, because that's you know what I'm saying, that's a crazy way. You got to use proper punctuation when you send the whole paragraph.
Yeah, use proper punctuation.
Anyway,
thoughts on Nate the Great?
Yeah, that's I think that's
he's in the conversation.
Fact. I think Nate the Great just cooked up right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Wait, so was this an offensive conversation of who's the most dangerous, no defense included?
I mean, you can always throw defense in there, but
I feel like I saw a video clip of that online, and I saw 4 offensive players. So that's interesting that no defense didn't matter.
Right. Well, how many defensive players can you name right now off the top of your head that are that dangerous where they just
Kevin Garnett?
Okay, I'm not saying that you can't name them. I'm saying who are the guys that are
Bill Russell, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kevin Garnett, probably off the top of my head.
Bill Russell, yeah.
Who else you said? Kevin Garnett, Bill Russell.
Kevin Garnett, Bill Russell, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Hakeem. Okay,
but we pretend two-way basketball matters, y'all. But we know what time it is. It's about who can get a bucket. It's about who can get a bucket.
Don't do that, because that's not what we're doing. What we're saying is who's the most dangerous. Just because a defensive-minded guy might not be the answer doesn't mean that defense isn't important and defense doesn't matter. What I'm saying is Steph Curry is so dangerous that you can name 10 guys that are great defensive guys, and he will still blow their head off. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes him the most dangerous person to ever touch the floor.
Look at Jordan.
Because he has a weapon. He has a weapon, Swiper. He has a weapon that nobody can compete with. And so to your point, thank you, Swiper, because that is exactly the reason Steph Curry is the conversation.
All right, last comment of the week comes from Bombers Flyupa.
You can say anything and you can pack people up. Go ahead. Let me read this, Rob. Let me read this again.
Episode 530. Bombers Flyupa said, in PCL news, host Ron packs up Swiper. Swindling as always. Obviously, on a defensive-driven team, the most important players are the defenders. Someone has to score the points on every team. Ron hosts to give others the chance. That's all.
Ron, would you like to speak to what happened directly after that?
What happened, Swiper?
Would you like to speak to the next few games directly after that?
I'm not hip to what you're getting at. What happened?
The whole framework I was coming from is that what the team looks like off the court when Jokic wasn't there on the course of the whole season. Are you ready to admit that I was right? That's where the conversation started.
No, I think I might have a better argument if I say what happened when Jamal Murray wasn't on the floor. I wasn't healthy. What? So of course Jokic is going to be bad in the non-Jokic minutes when the guy that carries the team during the Jokic minutes isn't there.
Just a quick question, and I don't want to forget and get off track on this because I mean we already went over this, but I heard something over the weekend which really piqued my interest, and I was going to ask you guys how you felt about it. So the Cavs, I watched Evan Mobley. He gets on the glass. He brings the ball up the floor. They play a lot of pick and dive with him, a lot of pick and pop with him. Are the Cavs trying to turn Are the Cavs trying to turn Evan Mobley into Draymond Green?
Well, offensively?
Yes. More offensively gifted, but I mean, they're asking him to run offense and do more ball handling and playmaking stuff.
Sure.
So I guess, like in that regard, maybe, but I don't think he's Draymond-y. Draymond's like very unique. I don't think they're trying to make him Draymond Green. I think they're just trying to make him an all-around player, which I think is a good thing. But I don't think
in the mold of what Draymond Green was doing for the Golden State Warriors as a distributor at the top of the key, a guy you can run the offense through, a guy who can take the ball.
I think just a lot of teams are trying to do that now. Just have their big as the hub because the value of just removing the big out of the paint because you have this guy running DHOs at the top and stuff is valuable. Like Isaiah Hartenstein, Evan Mobley, Jokic, Sabonis, like all of those things. I think that's why teams do it. I guess you could say Draymond was one of the first to do that. Well, I mean, you go back in history, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain were doing that. But like, if you want to say like that in that aspect, sure. But I don't think they're trying to make him like Draymond Green at all. I also don't think they could if they wanted to. But
hey, Mars, can you do me a favor, brother? Okay. That little tweet I put it in the chat. I don't know if you can probably copy it. I believe that says the top 5 point of attack defenders per B-ball index. Could you perhaps read?
It has Chris Dunn on it, right?
Yeah. Can you read the list, please, and see what it says 1 through 5 for me?
Okay. The list says.
No, don't gas now, chill.
I'm not gassing.
So the top 5 points of attack defenders. The stat they are using is D LeBron. The stat is named after LeBron James. Yes. Chris Dunn is number 1 with a 1.97. Amen Thompson is number 2 with a 1.78. Asar Thompson is number 3 with a 1.48. Dyson Daniels is a 1.46 at number 4. And then Keon Ellis is number 5 with a 1.45.
Shouts. Look at Alex. Our dog Keon Ellis, man. Looking like a star, dog. Big money man soon to be.
That ain't shit. We're not even going to make the playoffs. He need to do better.
Y'all going to make the playoffs. Y'all make the play. Y'all make the playoffs. Y'all got it.
Yeah, well, until we do, you know what I'm saying? Shit. I do believe we will, but I'm just trying to keep it cool because, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get ahead of myself.
But, yeah, I mean, Amen and Asar being in the top 3 makes sense.
That's crazy, dog. Twins? Both of the twins?
Makes sense. I think those 5 make sense. I think Jalen Suggs isn't there because of assuming because he just hasn't been healthy this year.
All I know is if you want to know where to find your POA defenders at, you know who to call, dog. You know who to call.
Where's Keon Johnson?
Bro, next year?
Mm.
Yeah, Ox. Yes, sir. They're gonna be like, where did he come from? Yes, sir. He's like,
So
Swiper told you.
I
Swiper
guess
told
Herb
you.
Jones doesn't do this either.
No, Herb Jones was hurt this year. He doesn't count.
Yeah,
Right.
Swiper's so good at finding POA defenders because he's just dreaming of one of them.
Dreaming
playing,
them.
yo.
Dreaming.
He's just dreaming like, please.
I was
someone
right about
save him.
KCP and Bruce Brown, though. It worked out.
He's like, please, someone save me. He's just trying to find the cheapest elite defenders he can. Just
Did
so
you
that
watch
he
the
can
game
be on
yesterday, Mars, on Playback? Did you actually watch it, or are you falling asleep? Because I know that game was late.
Nuggets Pacers game.
Yeah.
I saw.
Dyson
I didn't see most of it because I was watching the Rockets, obviously. But I saw enough to say your defense sucks.
They don't care. It's more breakdowns than a high school basketball team, Ox. That's
Since
what
you,
it was like.
since you on that subject, now that I think about it, like Dyson Daniels was a throw-in. Like they just handed him
Throw-in.
over.
Yeah.
They just handed him
I
over.
told
Like,
you guys he was the best player in the trade.
they just handed him over. Like, here, take him too. You can have this too. What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my
Crazy.
goodness.
I said the
You
moment
did tell
that
me
trade
that.
happened. I
You're
said
the one who
he's-
turned me
he's-
on to him,
yeah,
boss.
He's the best player in that trade.
You don't want to turn me on to him because I really wasn't paying attention to Dyson Daniels because I was wrapped up in Herb Jones. But they literally just handed him over. Like, I take this too. In addition to what you already taking here, you can have this too.
Yeah, what was the trade again?
Larry Nance, a pick, I think, Dyson, and for all that for DeJounte. I think that was a trade. I'll check.
And they got first back.
I think so. I'll check. Let me.
They just
make
handed
sure I
him
get
over. Like, here, you can
it.
have
That's
this.
absolutely right. Where is
I'll
it?
tell you what. If I had Dyson Daniel and
Dyson better than DeJounte Brown?
what?
I mean, as of right now, you got to say yeah.
Excuse me.
It was DeJounte for Dyson Daniels, EJ Liddell, Larry Nance, Cody Zeller, and two first round, three first round, a 2025 first round pick. So whoever they drafted, a 2027 first round pick, and then a 2025 Lakers first round pick, I think. So there was a lot of stuff involved, but the players were EJ Liddell.
They just handed him over. Like, here you go.
Mhm.
You can have him
I
too.
say it matters on what DeJounte we're talking about though, because and I don't know how.
But
he's
even
gonna
at the
bounce back
time,
from
though, that was
injury.
too much. Remember, Atlanta gave up 3 unprotected for Dyson to get him from the Spurs. Like he's been overvalued in trades twice.
Shout out to DeJounte, man.
Yeah, heal up. But all right, y'all. We have super chats. We have
Let's go.
a lot of them. So let's go ahead and dive into some of these. The first one that I got for you guys is from Realist123. Realist said, Luka is washed. Luka can't drive. Lakers offense is bad. I told y'all to relax. Playoff time, Luka will hunt mismatches. Send two, then Bron, AR, or Rui will be open. Who can actually stop?
I'm
this
not
offense?
sending. I'm not sending two. Like I'm not sending two to Luka. I'm just not. Like is what it is. We'll lose. Cool. I'm not sending two.
How did the Clippers guard them? They can't send 2. Well, because they have to send 2 in the drop.
I gotta get the ball out of his hands.
I mean,
I have to get the ball out of his hands. I have to. I gotta get the ball out of Luka's
I'm not
hands.
sending two. I don't see how that's a viable. When you have LeBron and Reeves on the backside, like that's not smart. Like, I'm sorry, it's not like you force Luka to beat you in isolation, especially this Luka that doesn't have burst.
The best scorer in the game, Mars.
He's not the best
What?
scorer in the game.
He's not at all. Like, not at all. He's not at all.
He's still not.
Man, I'm so
routinely
sick of
getting
that, bro.
value.
Let's have this
Like
conversation. man.
last year, Luka, cool. I'll have the
Sure,
conversation.
yeah.
This Luka that's slow as hell. He's not the best scorer. Like, there's no way you can watch this Luka Doncic and say he's a better scorer than Shea. Like, there's just no way you can.
He's having a better
believe that.
season. I'm not gonna argue that part. I'm not gonna have you.
But
I'm not
Luka
gonna-
is like, he's just clearly playing well. Like, unless you think Luka can get back athletically to where he was last year, then sure, let's have the conversation. But the Luka Doncic that has been playing this season,
Sure.
there's no way you think he's the best scorer in the league. There's no way.
even with what he's been doing, still getting downhill, still
Barely.
cracking it. But hey, last I checked, the commission doesn't say barely NBA champions. So the fact
It
that I
does
can
say
get-
barely getting downhill.
but it ain't barely working though. I can tell you that
It's
working,
barely working.
but it's working.
How
I
this
think if I'm
man
not
been
mistaken,
scoring since he's been in LA?
I
He's
think on the
shooting.
last,
He's
like,
shooting 46% from 2, and then
It's like,
40%
yeah,
from
he
3.
shoot.
I
He
think-
shoot now
and I
48%
think
from 2 now.
and I think
he's
14%
averaging
on
like-
2-pointers.
And I think he's
It
averaging
went up.
like,
Well, it's gone up the
he's averaging
last week,
31
though.
a game. 30. I think he's averaging 30.
He's averaging
27. Yeah, but that's not the-
27. He's
But that's
averaging
not the
27 on the Lakers. He's shooting 48%.
27 on the Lakers.
48% from 2, and only 11 of his shots are coming at the rim. He's barely getting downhill. He's heavily relying on 3-pointers, and he's barely getting by people at this point, especially consistently. That's not the best scorer in the league.
But he's not in the conversation for the best scorer in the world, though.
More athletic in the playoffs.
Because Mars, though, that would look a whole lot different if they didn't send 2. I do want to say that. It would look, and I'm kind of with you though on not sending 2, but I will say if they weren't sending 2, that 27 might damn near be 35.
Right.
What?
He
might.
It's harder.
It's harder.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, but chill. Wait, you're telling me you're seeing 2 clearly better scoring seasons than this year than Luka by a huge leap this season. Like it's not even a conversation like between who the best scorers in the league are right now. Like Luka's not there.
Arguably the best scorer in the game.
You called him the best scorer. That's what
I did call him the best scorer.
That's why we disagree.
But as of today, he's arguably in your estimation.
I don't see the argument besides just saying you think he can get back to what he was. That's the only argument. Yeah, that's the only. But that even the argument is who's the best scorer in the league today. You can't be like, if Luka gets back to what he was a year ago, then he's
no. That's not what I'm saying.
Right now, he's not. He's not in the conversation right now.
That's not what the idea that he's not in the conversation with. He's still averaging 27 a game, barely getting to the rim.
Yeah, but the other 2 players are averaging 30 on like 65 and 67, dog.
Okay, how is Luka today a better scorer?
And I'm hurt.
How is Luka today a better scorer than Kevin Durant?
Today?
Yes, today.
Okay, well,
he's also averaging 27 a game, by the way.
Okay, so KD doesn't get to his spots like he used to. That's number 1. KD doesn't. Luka still gets to the rim. He might not get to the rim as much as you'd like for him to get to the rim.
Oh,
today?
Yeah.
Today, KD gets
you're
to the
doing
rim
the thing that you always do, where you compare players to their former selves.
No, I'm not. No, I'm talking about
KD does not get to the rim like he used to.
That's what I'm talking about.
KD is getting to the rim more than Luka is.
I watch KD today with that Phoenix Suns team. I watch him live in the mid-range. I watch him live in the mid-post. I watch him live in stop and pop. He doesn't seem to get to the rim. Now, maybe your numbers tell me something different. But when I watch KD, right? Well, when I watch KD on that Phoenix Suns team, he lives on that right wing and that right elbow, getting to the mid-range way more. Why? Because he doesn't have the athleticism to get downhill like he used to. He doesn't get to the rim. For me, watching him like he used to, he lives on that right wing and he lives on that left.
Well, Kevin Durant is shooting 79% at the rim this year on a fairly good amount of attempts, and he's shooting from mid-range, 53% from mid-range, and he's shooting 41% on above the break threes this year. Like he's having a phenomenal scoring season.
Bear with me.
And Luka, for all intents and purposes, is having a below average scoring season. Is that correct? Because he's averaging 27 a game, right? Because he's averaging 27 a game. And we're only going off of what he's done this season. So he's a substantially worse scorer than both SGA and, let's say, Joker. He's a substantially less scorer than those 2 guys because he's not as athletic as he was last year, even though he's still averaging 27 a game.
Luka's shooting 70% at the but I'm saying on similar volume this year, like he's shooting 9% worse at the rim on similar volume as Kevin Durant.
The fact that he's not even in the conversation.
So Kevin Durant scores more. Kevin Durant scores more at the rim. We have
1 year
because he's more efficient.
So we have,
but the volume is actually very similar. So
that's what I'm saying.
The volume is similar, but KD's more efficient at the rim, so he scores more at the rim. And then you factor in just the clearly better mid-range shooter.
He's a better mid-range shooter than Luka. I'll definitely give you that part. Yes, 100%.
And I still think both of them don't get to their spots at the elite level that Shea and Jokic do. But KD is, I don't agree. I don't think the argument why Luka's a better scorer than KD today can be because Luka gets to his spots. I don't think that can be the argument.
And
that's just part of it. That's just part of the argument because Luka still gets to the him and KD get to the rim similarly. KD, yes, they get to the rim similarly.
And he's almost 10% more efficient at the rim.
Right. And with him, these are the facts. I have nothing. You guys got all of these numbers. I have nothing. So
I just looked him up now.
I don't have anything for this. You guys have all the numbers. I was just talking basketball, but these are the numbers, and I have nothing to compare.
Well, the numbers are what's unfolding. We're not like using advanced analytics that can be skewed. The numbers are just telling you what's happening when like Kevin Durant is shooting 79% of the rim, 52% on short mid-range, 55% on long mid-range. Like
I'm watching Luka from a guy who last year averaged almost 35 a game.
That Luka
this year.
Yes.
Okay, so We're going from 1 year where we have a drastic change where we got a guy who, in my estimation, had the best. I think he's the best scorer in the game. So we go from that to now not even being in the conversation where 1 year where he's still averaging 27, almost 27, 28 a game. And I think it was a stretch with the Lakers where he was averaging 30 a game for, I think, 6 or 7 games.
The month of March.
The month where he shot 40% on pull-up threes.
Where he was averaging 30 a game on pull-up threes. But now he's not in the conversation as one of the best scorers in the game.
Well,
He
now,
still is one of the best scorers.
no, because now we've changed the word 3 times.
The best scorer in the game. This is what I'm talking about. The best scorer in the game because he was hurt and he's not as athletic as he was, even though he's still getting to where he got to get to. He might not be getting there as much. He's still getting to where he has to get to. He's still getting to the rim. He's still cracking the long ball. You just told me he was shooting 46% on pull-up threes. And this is a guy who missed 2 months, right? This guy you said the same thing to me, Mars. 2 months. You said the same thing to me, Mars, 3 months ago when Joker was shooting 46% of the
and at least with Jokic,
he's
shooting for the most part, catch and shoot wide open threes. So I didn't think that was sustainable. Absolutely. Jokic has very clearly improved as a three-point shooter. He gets tip of the cap. Well done.
Yep.
Luka Doncic shooting 40% on pull-up threes over a month stretch on 10 pull-up threes a game. Yes, that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. That's not sustainable for any human being. Steph Curry's not doing that.
Kevin Durant.
So yes, that's not sustainable. Luka Doncic is a good Luka Doncic is a good three-point shooter.
Sure.
But if the way for him to score 30 these days efficiently is for him to shoot 40% on 10 pull-up threes a game, and he's still and in that month of March, still a poor 2-point scorer, not getting to the rim that much. The reason his 2-point percentage is so low is not because he can't finish at the rim, it's because when he very rarely gets there and he's having to settle for these turnaround jump shots and he's trying to get these floaters up over defenders. Like, it's tougher because he's not getting by people. Kevin Durant doesn't have that same problem. Kevin Durant doesn't get by people just like Luka doesn't get by people. They both lack that burst. Kevin Durant relies more on his length and stuff. But at least with Kevin Durant, when he gets stopped and he's turning around in the mid-range, that's 52% shots, 55% shots. With Luka Doncic, it's not. That's not what it's been. That's why the concerns of Luka are real. Luka last year, have the conversation, that's fine. But this year has been a very, very clear regression. And I'm comfortable saying this Luka Doncic, as we are watching him right now, he's not in and Kevin Durant isn't even in the conversation for best scorer in the league to me. To me, the conversation is to me it's Shea and then Jokic and then everyone else. Like no one else.
The gap between everybody else.
Yeah, those two are the two best scorers in the league. Like I would have Giannis in that group, in that next group, that third or something. A healthy Joel Embiid if that exists, but even him, I'm not having him in the conversation. For the same reason, I'm not having Luka in the conversation because the Joel Embiid I saw this year, no, he's just not in these talks. The Luka Doncic I'm watching this year is not in the conversation for the best scorer in the league. Like, there's no way you can watch someone struggle to get by people as much as he is, struggle to create easy offense for himself as much as he is, and not be the outlier shooter like a guy like Kevin Durant is, and say, well, this guy can still be the best scorer in the league. Like, he can have explosions, absolutely. Last night against OKC is an explosion. The game, who did he have recently an explosion against?
Yeah, 35.
He had an explosion in the first quarter against Denver. That was crazy.
Right.
Like he's capable of all of those things. But you'll notice all of those games where he explodes offensively, outlier 3-point shooting. That's what he has right now. Everything else is a struggle.
But he's always been he's always been a good 3-point shooter. Always been.
The last 2 seasons, yeah.
Yeah, he's been and he wasn't always in the conversation as the best scorer in
the
game.
Yeah. So that's why I'm with you. The last 2 seasons. Yeah.
He's been a good 3-point shooter, and that's one of the main reasons why I feel like he was the best scorer in the game. On top of him getting downhill, his ability to stop and shift and get defenses off balance and fly by him with his ability to stop. He was doing that this year. He's still doing it. He might not be getting to the rim as much as he was last year or 2 years ago, but he's still getting to the rim and he still is scoring. That pull-up jump shot that he has in the mid-post, it still works, and he still gets to the free throw line, which he could be a little bit more efficient as a free throw shooter. But when I combine all of that stuff in, I still think that his ability, everything that he's
shooting 39% from mid-range this year.
So that's almost 40% at the mid-range.
That's not good. Sure.
I didn't say it was bad. I
was just making sure you was aware.
I'm not saying that that's good, because we just had this conversation about Jalen Green shooting 35% in the mid-range. Yeah. So if 35% and 39% is way different than 45% and 49%. So those two things are not the same thing.
Yeah. What KD's are like 52.
53.
Okay, we've never argued that KD. I've never argued that KD
So he's shooting. KD shooting better at the rim from mid range and above the break threes this year.
So Swipe, I just want to make sure that when we're having this conversation about guys this year, that you don't bring up last year any point in any argument, because you've done that before in the past.
Well, it depends on what we're talking about.
No, it doesn't depend on what we're talking about, because that's exactly what my argument was about Luka. I was basing what Luka did. I was basing what Luka did, him being the best scorer in the game, coming into this season, of what he did last year, and the fact that before he got hurt, he was getting busy at that level as a scorer, and then he missed 2 months.
But I think when clear regression happens, I don't think you can look at the past. When players maintain like their level, like we can look at KD last season and look at KD this season,
sure,
and we can use that to broaden the sample, because KD for the most part is very similar. His shot profile's changed a little bit. He's getting a lot of mid-range jumpers closer to the rim, which I think benefits him. But for the most part, Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. But Luka Doncic last season and this season are two completely different players, to where I can't agree with saying, based on last season, Luka could still be the best scorer in the league, when everything we're seeing this season suggests that we're not seeing last season's Luka. That's not the same person right now.
And I'm not going to argue that point, Mars. But the point I will counter with is, you're the one who told me this was just last year, because we saw an outlier with Joker in terms of his shooting. Is this the regression of Joker shooting wasn't very good last year? In fact, you were very concerned with his ability to shoot last year.
In the playoffs and then the Olympics.
Right. And then in this season, he comes out and he blows everybody out of the water with his shooting. So this may be an outlier with Luka.
Absolutely.
Well, he flips every other year as a 3-point shooter though. So he just
but never to this level.
I mean, obviously,
even with Jokic, like,
his interior scoring is what makes him.
I'm not saying Jokic is the best big man shooter in the league. Like, he's not better than Kat at shooting in my opinion. No, because he's having this outlier, this amazing season. Now, if he maintains this going forwards, then we're like, okay, well, this was the turning point. With Luka, next year, maybe Luka's back at 24 Luka levels. And then I'll be right there with you to have the conversation about best scorer in the league. But this Luka, where it looks like from my eye test, he is just clearly worse. Like, he's just clearly worse. I can't just be like, well, last year he was really this good, so I'm just going to give him that benefit of doubt when it looks like his burst is short. And we saw this in the postseason last year. So this isn't just a this year thing. We saw it in the postseason last year when he was playing through those injuries. The burst was worse. And the one series in which he scored at an amazing level was the series against the Timberwolves, in which the pull-up three was going at a ridiculous rate. Like, if we're at a point with Luka where the way in which he gets his volume is pretty much solely based on pull-up threes, I don't think he can be the best scorer in the league with just that, with that being his main weapon. What made Luka so dangerous was he had the post-up game. He was able to get by you whenever he wanted. He was able to get downhill. He was able to get into that mid-range and make 49% of them. Most of that stuff has disappeared. That's the problem with Luka.
Which is a fair statement, and I can counter that by saying I think that Luka is having a down year, but still is the best scorer in the game.
But I guess you have 3 years now with SGA, 3 straight, where he's 30 on like 65, 64, or 64, 63, basically. Like
100%.
But then you have 5 years from Jokic where he's at 26 and like 65 minimum. So, or 64 and a half minimum, whatever else it is. Like, so even in, I have a large sample size for, I think, for the other two. Then you have the Embiid years where he was going crazy. I think Luka is just like, he's one of the best scorers in the league.
Yeah, I think last year Luka's in the conversation. And I'm with you on that. He's in the conversation. I'll have that conversation. I'm not sure he's top of that conversation. I think Shea and Jokic probably do have something to say about that, but he's in the conversation. And if your position is, I think Luka is the best or is in the conversation, because I still think he has last year's Luka in him. He's just not at that level right now.
I think we're in a down season.
That's if that's the case, that's fine. Because like 2022 Steph was a down season, but Steph wasn't a worse basketball player. If that's the point you're making, I can understand that.
It's not just a down season, though.
Well, but hold on. But Teflon also asked it. This is when Mars asked the question in the safe space, and then it proceeded not to make it a safe space. By the way, where I said, "What is Luka's scoring post the Clippers series?" And I think it was at 30 on 58. Like, that's not great. Like, you know what I mean? It was like 46, 34. I think 72 splits. Like, even in the playoffs, Luka hasn't been like spectacular consistent.
Yeah, y'all, but come on. Now y'all starting to kind of go with that. It's Luka, though.
No. We're comparing him. No, this is what I don't appreciate how y'all do this. I really don't like this. We're having a conversation relative.
We know why you're doing this, Swiper.
No, we're having it relative to his peers. This is the whole conversation.
Relative to his peers, he's the Don.
No, he's not. Yes, like, I'm saying, if you compare him to the other players, compare him to the rest of the people in the league.
Even this season, though. Okay.
What does that mean? What does that mean? So no matter what numbers I throw out, no matter what the information says, it's just he's the dog just because you say so.
I can look at the numbers too, and then also too, one thing that you and Mars, because we can also throw some context in there too. And it's two things. One thing is contextual, and one thing is just something that just hasn't been mentioned yet. I don't know if you guys. I stepped away for a second, so I don't know if you guys mentioned it, but Luka's still getting to the free throw line 9 times a game. Oh yeah, so like that is a method in scoring, and he gets to the free throw line more than Kevin Durant.
So absolutely, he gets to the free throw line more than Shea.
It's so that's the thing. He's scoring at the line. So you guys can say, 2-point percentage, 3-point percentage. He's getting to the line, and Luka's always going to get to the line.
Relative to their peers, Swiper, can you give me legit logic that Joker's a better scorer than Embiid? Like,
not. Hey, chill. He can give you logic.
Swiper can make the case. There's going to be a lot of playoff stuff and ignoring.
Yeah, I think he's
logic. It's not going to be legit, but he's going to give you logic.
So what I say is not legit because
no, Swiper, stay with me.
Well, I just want to know why does it move with me? I'm trying to understand that.
What you're going to say is going to be based on postseason injuries. That's what you're going to say is going to be based
on bias, postseason injury and bias.
So you think this is what I'm saying.
I don't want to take the conversation.
So this is what Jokic. Now, can I do this for the PCL debate that I didn't have, by the way? It's the only players that are shooting above 64 on 26 a game for 4 straight years are him and Steph ever. And like that's you got to modern adjust that obviously, but like I think that some of this. So four straight years of 26 a game on 64 or more true shooting. It's Jokic and it's Steph, I believe. And you can correct. There might be one more name, but I believe it's Jokic and Steph. But
like the reason I think, sorry, you can carry on after this, but the reason I think that's somewhat disingenuous, like Embiid never did that. He was in 21, he was 63.6, so he was close. Right. In 22, he was 61.6, so about 2.5% off. And then 23 and 24, he was 65.5 and 64.4, respectively. But one of them is averaging 33 points per game while doing that.
No, I agree with you, but that was just the first part, though. I think that in the regular season, there's a level of consistency we've gotten from Joker that like we just haven't seen a lot. I do think consistency matters over the stretch of years.
Sure.
And I think on top of that, like this is Jokic's 5th straight high volume efficient season, and maybe his best volume scoring season. And then in the playoffs, I really don't like he's been a monster for 4-5 straight playoffs. So like some of this is just like what do you actually care about? And I think it just depends on how like are you going regular season scoring peak, which is fine. I think Embiid has that conversation. Like I think he was a better scorer than Luka, like in the 34 games. Like I think that's really a conversation. I think SGA deserves to be there. I think Luka's also really good depending on the shot volume it takes. Giannis is only shooting I think 31 on 61 this year, which is lower for Giannis than it was, I think, in the previous years. Yeah, free throws and 3-pointers. Like he's having a worse year, both of those things. Yeah, finishing last year, he was at 82%.
He's taking more mid-range shots. He's taking less 3. So that's cool. The free throw percentage going down has hurt him, and the rim percentage going down a bit has hurt him as well. So
but I think he's in the conversation as well. So I feel like there's probably 3 names that I would take our best scorer in the league, and I think Embiid is no longer in it. Because I just don't think he's the health stuff.
The Embiid I saw this year definitely isn't in those.
But SGA was okay. He was good in the first round, but I think he was excellent in that next round. His shooting splits were insane versus Dallas, especially given the coverages and stuff he was seeing. I think Luka's still in it, but I don't know. Like again, I feel like it's better for somebody else to talk about Joker at this point because I don't think Ron's going to say that.
2024 Luka is in the conversation to me. Yeah, this Luka is, but 24 Luka is.
All I'm gonna say is, if I was to tell you guys, next season when we have somebody's gonna average 35 or 34, and I was like, and you only have 3 names to choose from. What would you think the 3 names would be?
Luka,
wait a minute, Luka's gonna be on that.
Shea, Luka, and Embiid. So
let's and this is where it gets and to Swiper's point. This is where it gets skewed with me because Luka can that 35 a game Luka averaged last year. If I can get a healthier Luka and a more downhill Luka, if that 35 was 29. On better efficiency or 30 on better efficiency, I'm taking that over 35 a game, Luka.
Oh, absolutely. If you give Luka his burst back that he had in 22, 23, you get Luka that burst back, I'm all in for the conversation. I'm not trying to hate on Luka if it's coming across that way.
No, we're having a conversation.
This Luka I'm watching right now. Do you guys remember the first year after James Harden hurt his hamstring, like when he was in Philly?
Yeah.
2022 season. That's how Luka looks. Like he looks like James Harden hamstring injury in terms of bursts. And that's bad. Like James Harden was like 32,
but you guys
33.
You guys know though, like you guys do know that Nico Harrison tried to tell you niggas about this, and y'all got mad at him. Now, check Nico out.
Good job, Nico.
That y'all didn't know.
Good
All
job,
right, y'all,
Nico.
but
AD looks amazing.
Yeah, hit that game winner the other night too. Shout out AD. Also too, yo, I know that we need to reveal these Final Four contestants and whatnot. I have a lot of super chats, so I'm not revealing anything until we get through these super chats.
Nah, I really am. I really am. Now, you know,
I think you won 2-1. I think you won 2-1. I actually did rewatch the debates. I think you won 2-1.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I was nervous to rewatch the second round because I know like I misspoke and I said Zubac when I wanted to throw Norm in there and everybody said, "You didn't bring up Norman Powell." I just don't want to be penalized for what I didn't say. I want to be judged for what I did say. That's all I'm saying. But I left a lot of meat on the bone. You know what I'm saying? So for those reasons, if Jordan gets it 2-1, I'm not even upset, but I am nervous. Usually I don't even trip. Usually I'm a poor sport. You know what I'm saying? Usually I'm a poor sport. Right now, I'm not. I'm excited about this. I'm just nervous, bro, because I really want to win that one. You know what I'm saying?
On first watch, I had Jordan winning because I spoke to Jordan on Playback. On first watch, I was like, I think I got Jordan 2-1. I rewatched it this morning. Yeah, I think I got Ox 2-1. I think.
Damn.
So yeah.
Tampering with the judges is crazy, Mars.
The vote's already in.
Still tampering. Tampering.
I mean, my thing is honestly, and on top of that too, I feel like I get one of those whistles like LeBron was getting because maybe I come off as a little aggressive, but Ron was absolutely Ron was letting Jordan just yap and yell and scream over when I was making
Ron.
But at the same time, Ron was protecting. Ron protects everybody else in the PCL. Like in the real talk in Hayes, he stopped it.
So you Shaq, you don't get a whistle.
He was letting Jordan do me dirty. I was like, bro, I'm in the middle of making a point. He asked me a question. I'm answering. He said he's gonna cut his water off. No, he's not.
Hey, chill. Last I checked, Ox was the dominant one. Last time I checked, Ox came in and liberated us. Ox saved us from the bully.
Ron, what I'm saying is, I guess I got a Shaq whistle now. That's fine. All I'm saying is, I was making real points, talking real ball. Jordan was just yelling and saying things and not explaining himself. He didn't rebuttal about Ty Lue and Doc Rivers, even though he's admitted that previously. You know what I'm saying? He didn't explain to me how Kawhi Leonard wasn't going to be stopped. Nothing. It was just a whole bunch of
yelling. Tampering.
I was about to say it sounded like the jury already
the votes are in.
I got it. Still tampering, apparently. Still tampering.
In front of the jury. Like, listen,
if that's the case, I'm gonna be quiet. Then I thought the votes were already in.
A judge about to message Ron like, "Oh, I changed my answer now."
With that being said, how is DeAndre Jordan the guy that's all of a sudden gonna stop this James Harden pick and roll?
I have no idea. Yeah, that's what.
He's gonna cut his water off. That's not talking ball. You're not explaining to me nothing. That's all I'm saying. But I'm gonna shut up because I don't want to be tampered.
Yeah, that part did throw me off. But whoever wins.
Hello, you got the votes in?
Okay. Here you go. Okay.
He's talking to the suits. He's talking to the suits right now.
W cheerio. Jordan, you did good, bro. I'm saying I respect your debate yesterday, but that was a fire debate. Good shit.
It was a good debate.
I still think I won. Can we throw that third round out? Because that's the round that Jordan did win. But that third round was so bad. I was kind of embarrassed. Like, damn.
I think Chill, you had your best debate of the competition yesterday. I think that was Chill's best performance of the PCL so far. I think you did good.
Chill, when you chose Gary Payton, Chill, when you chose Gary Payton, I was like, no, Chill, I thought you were cooked. Then you came in.
He won that. Yeah, he won that round. He won that round handily. Yeah, you won that round well.
Like, give me a break, Ox. You know, I am nice with the hands now.
I'm already knowing, but I was like, damn, how you gonna win that one? But then I was like, Chill should say this. Chill didn't say nothing. I said you should say and was cooking. I said, never mind, ignore me. I said, you got this.
No,
I would have went with J Kidd. Mm-hmm. And when I see you go for Gary Payton, I was like,
well, the immediate thought was like, who's the best player to play, retired player to play with Giannis? I thought about the architect and how they were building that unit around Giannis and when he was at his best, when they were doing that. And that's why I'm thinking, okay, they went with Drew Holiday, who was an upgrade to Eric Bledsoe. And who would be an upgrade to Drew Holiday? Well, that upgrade would be Gary Payton, because that's the same kind of architect. And that's why I argued that point.
All right, fellas, before we get to the winners, once again, I got to get through these super chats. So let's go ahead and knock these down. King Musa said, shout out to PC. I've been watching since the Jason Williams show. It's cool to see how far you've gone. Life ain't been easy, but I appreciate that I can kick back and listen to Hoop Talk as an escape. Sending love.
That's what we here for, brother. Yeah, that's what we here for.
Shout out to you, bro.
As well, so he in King Charles's domain. Shout out to him.
Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Keep tapping in, and we're going to keep giving you a good time. MP13 said, Swiper, you are severely overrating how irresponsible the average person is.
I agree with that.
There's no world in America that you are going to tell me those people with their politics in their bio do any research outside of watching the news.
No, I agreed with that. I said the same thing. I think we need to all be able to, be educated on what we're talking about. All of us.
Which is why I don't talk on what I'm not educated about. Or what I think I'm not.
Especially since I want to point this out too, Swiper, because you said something a minute ago, and I don't want to get into it with you. I was just saying, a cheaper economy isn't necessarily a better economy. Sometimes you got to weather the storm to build your backbone back up. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, make your economy great, no matter what.
MP13 third recession since 2008. Shout out. Go ahead.
MP13 said the issue is the same as politics. There's an infinite amount of factors that people vote on. So unless you get literally every single factor, which is impossible, someone can make the case that the criteria is invalid.
Yeah.
Some people are always going to value things that you don't.
Yeah, we live in a place where nobody. I'd like for us to give me something that we all agree on. Everything.
Every human being deserves water, shelter, and food. I think we all agree with that.
Are you sure? Because
I said us.
I would say champagne over water. But
I don't agree.
All right, Mars is 100% full-time troll. I got you.
No, I mean, if we want,
matter of fact, Mars, you use my platform to get your trolls off on. I've learned that on Twitter.
I wholeheartedly believe if you have committed crimes against children, you do not deserve water, shelter, or food. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Also, yes, Swiper,
I don't believe every human being deserves water, shelter, and food. I don't believe that. So
also, just last Friday, Jordan proved that it's some people that think some things are more valuable than water.
Oh, okay.
I remember what that's about, bro. I was lost.
Shout out Dr. Sebi.
Yeah, shout out to Dr. Sebi. Yeah.
Oh.
Yo.
Yeah, we don't agree, Swiper. So there you go. We don't agree.
Shout out, bro.
I don't know exactly what this person was trying to say in the super chat, but I'll try my best. Telly Dan Hogan said 60 years, watch avidly. Chamberlain, E.T. Al.
He's been watching basketball for 60 years avidly. Yeah. So Chilltown era. He's seen Chamberlain and all of them. That's what he's saying. Mm-hmm. And Jokic is the most consistent great player he's ever seen.
Just so you know, I wasn't around when Chamberlain was playing. Just so you know.
Steve Kerr the other day said Jokic is the best center he's ever seen play, including Kareem and Shaq. And all them.
He said, wait. You know what though? Tell it now, Hogan. You need to get your old ass eyes checked.
Steve Kerr too. Shout outs, bro. Shouts.
Yo. I can't believe Steve Kerr brought up Jabbar like that.
You can't.
What'd he say?
He said I played against Jabbar.
Well, he basically said that like there's no other player he's seen do all the things that Joker does. He's the best center he's ever seen. He said he thinks Jokic is the best center he's ever seen.
Which is fair. He played with him.
And he said Draymond's the best defender he ever seen.
Well, I don't think that's crazy.
Steve Kerr
he played with Scottie Pippen.
That's what he
needs.
Yeah,
but I think Draymond's a better defender than Scottie Pippen.
He need a good ass kicking. That's what he needs.
Steve Kerr just be saying shit though.
He need that Draymond treatment.
I respect it because
he's not Jordan Poole.
He always got his people back. He always putting on for his squad. I love that about Steve Kerr. Real loyalty. But
Warriors fans were mad 2 years ago when Steve Kerr called Jokic the best in the world while Steph was still on the team. I thought that was hilarious. It's like, what do you want him to lie? Go ahead, Ron.
Jordan sent through a super chat and said, Bronny, 3 points, 100% from the field in 2 minutes. Steph Curry. 3 points, 10% from the field in 33 minutes. Hashtag noticing.
Shout agendas.
Aspire. So Bronny clears Steph.
Yep, he's just better than him.
W
Trade. Matter of fact, trade Bronny for Steph. Do that.
Would LeBron do that?
No.
What? I couldn't get this little nigga. What? Are you crazy? Shit, Savannah, it's all right. Let him be a man. Get up out of here.
JB Parisian said, he sent through a members chat and said, PCL, best round so far. All the topics were great too.
Yeah, W topics, just like all of them.
Yeah, I like my topics yesterday. Notice I didn't complain about them. So if I lost, it's not because of the topics. It's just I lost.
Well, if you make it to the Final Four, just know it's all narrative talk. So if you want to just...
then John D could take my place.
all right, okay.
John Diesel.
3P God became a YouTube member today. Shout out to 3P God. And Context Clues.
Yeah, but thank you.
A members chat and said, thoughts on South Carolina versus UConn in the men's Final Four games. How do you lose a game like how Duke did?
Let's talk ball.
That was a crazy ending.
Paige Beckers has more NCAA points than Maya Moore does now. Like Paige
is the truth. I'm glad she went out with one. I'm so glad she went out with one.
She has most points in UConn history.
She's crazy, dog. Like she's insane. Yeah, so shout out to her. They got a freshman that's going to be the #1 overall pick too, Mars, in a couple of years.
And
Sarah Strong.
And Ox is a women's basketball. Ox is a women's basketball guy, and I watch women's basketball too. Okay, Ox, when you getting your ass whooped, let's be honest. When you getting your ass whooped, the majority of people you see getting their ass whooped, what do? And getting your ass whooped hurts. So what if Dawn Staley was crying while she was getting her ass whooped? Getting your ass whooped hurts.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. In the national championship, they were getting stomped, and it was hard to watch.
So wait. I didn't even hear anybody saying something about that. Like
she's complaining. She was crying. Yes, getting your ass whooped hurts.
Right.
So if you get your ass beat, yes, you're gonna cry about it.
I actually give a lot of credit to a lot of these athletes, a lot of these coaches, and people in general. I legitimately don't know, like, had I went that far in the NBA and in my pro career, how I would have took losing, because I'm a sore loser. I'm a good guy, but I'm a sore loser. Like, in that moment of time, I might not shake your hand. In that moment of time, I might be pouting. I'm like, I don't know what I would expect if I lost like that. It's tough to lose. Like
it
even that
was
Duke
29-point lead at one point, bro. I was like, bruh, like they were getting out everything, classed, worked. I mean, UConn was hitting. They didn't hit it. They hit 1-3, I think, in the first half. That third quarter, bro, they were contesting and they were still getting those buckets. But they played basketball. They were moving the ball around. They were creating advantages. And then on top of that, South Carolina couldn't score. Like they were working hard for every single bucket. So shout out to them, bro. Like honestly. And again, we didn't, we spent, I don't know, like part of the show talking about whatever, but bro, that Houston comeback was crazy.
Really quickly, Ox.
That's what I was going to ask about.
But before we transition over there, I want to give a shout out to the UConn ladies. I wasn't necessarily hating on them all season. I just didn't think they was better than UCLA, USC, South Carolina. I thought they were good. I just didn't think they were as good as those teams.
Notre Dame,
they came through. Definitely Notre Dame. Notre Dame was my favorite team. UConn came through and handled business. Paige Buckets. I'm sorry. You have all the respect on your name. Congrats to you.
#1 overall pick too.
You came through and did that.
Who was the #1 pick this year?
Dallas Wings.
Damn. Yeah, bro. She gonna be dirty in Texas, man. I'm telling you, bro.
Her and Enrique gonna be putting on a masterclass. But shout out to her though.
What I saw yesterday, Ron, was I saw a team that saw another team that they thought that they'd have a lot of trouble with in Texas. And when they saw South Carolina beat them, they was like, we ain't losing to them. Nah, we ain't losing to them. When Texas lost, UConn was looking at South Carolina like, we ain't losing to them. Nah, this is our national championship. Because they looked at, I think they looked at Texas like Texas was a formidable opponent. Texas was going to be something serious that they had to deal with. And when South Carolina dropped them, UConn was like, we definitely ain't losing to them.
And
It's kind of like what happened last year with Dallas
Mhm.
and Denver. When Minnesota dropped Denver, Dallas was looking at them like, we ain't losing to them. Nah, hell no. Nope.
And Jake Fashion sent through a $25 super chat. He said, "Don't forget AZ Fudd. She helped UConn win yesterday, and she went crazy in the Final Four too."
She did.
I mean,
But Ron,
She
that again, just to make sure everybody remembers, that's to 5 stars, to top 5 players in that class. Ron, Angel Reese, champion, good at. I think you're gonna be a really good WNBA player. Cameron Brink,
she is a really good.
She might be in MVP talks one day. Cameron is crazy, and then you get Caitlin, first team All NBA as a rook. I think she's gonna win MVP too. And then number 2 was Paige was number 1. Rock, who's the other one? The 5th one. Camila
Cardozo.
Yeah, Cardozo. All of them champions except for Caitlin, obviously. But like Caitlin took her team to the Final Four. The Natty, crazy class, dog.
Yeah, shout out Camilla. If you was on Playback last night, we gave her a shout out, and shout out to everybody that was on Playback last night. Once again,
isn't Haley in that class too?
Haley Van Lith. I don't think she wasn't top 5 that year. I can't. She might have been though, because she's a super senior this year. So she might have been. But that's another one. Three straight 3 different Final Fours with 3 different teams.
Shout out Haley, and shout out just the women's game in general. Can't wait because the WNBA is about to start up soon.
The NBA, the WNBA, bro. This. I think this is probably the best the women's basketball's ever been. And this includes the Cheryl Swoops and Holslaw era and Tina Thompson and all them. This might be the best.
Swiper, I'm not arguing against that. You could be right. All I'm gonna say is now it's just more eyes on it. So I'm just now that it is more eyes on it, and now that it is as good as it is, y'all need to tap in. Hey, this summer I need y'all with me. Last summer y'all wasn't really rocking with Ox. Y'all wasn't really rocking with me. This summer I need y'all. Swiper, they just don't want to.
100% last summer.
They was, but it was still some pushback. This summer I need y'all all to rock with us because here on this panel we gonna talk some WNBA hoops.
I know we gotta move on, but my question to you guys is: what was Cooper Flagg supposed to do in that specific sense? In that specific,
which one? The offensive possession?
That basketball game.
I think he just doesn't know how to use his body yet. Like he should have.
He was supposed to not lose that basketball game.
They were up. What is it? 7-point lead. Ox.
They had them in the chokehold.
They had a 9-point lead. I think they was up 14 with 7 minutes to go.
Well, I'm saying in the last minute though. I think they had like a 7-point lead.
They were up 6. They were up 6.
6.
Yeah.
But look, Houston executed, Ron. They were that out of bounds defense they were playing. They didn't give an inch on any of those possessions. And then, oh boy, went to shoot that 3-pointer and then chill, like you say, like knowing where you are, knowing your personnel. They had the weak side rebounder right there, got that putback, played really good defense. And then the Cooper Flagg, over the back call, whatever. It is what it is. It's, situational or whatever. But to go down there and make those free throws to put your team up. And then old boy from Houston, I don't know his name, played great defense on that possession versus Cooper Flagg, man. Like, honestly, that's what won them the game, dog. Like, just it's the effort they put in. It was just the fact that they were playing as tenacious that they did. Man, bro, this championship game, y'all, with Houston and Florida, it's about to be crazy, dog. Like, I can't wait.
Who y'all got?
Florida got a bunch of adults. I think Florida's the winner. They got a bunch of grown-ups over there.
Okay, I don't know who I got. I just want to see a good basketball game.
I'm taking
Florida. I might take Houston, dog.
Plus, for my UConn agenda, it works because you lost to the champs.
Florida got the best player on the floor with Walter Clayton.
He nice, Ron. Holy shit.
Yo, somebody had tweeted something and said, or it was a message. I don't remember where I read it at, but they said, it was actually old boy from Kenny from Enjoy Basketball. He said, see, this is why I can't be an NBA GM because I'd be trying to convince myself to pick this kid in the lottery. And my thing is, like, you might look at drills and you might look at, who has the most upside and you might use that as your draft pick. But one of the main things that I see in a draft pick, in the top draft pick, is what do you do in the NCAA tournament? What do you do when the lights get the brightest? And when the lights got the brightest, Walter Clayton Jr. has been balling. On top of that, Florida's a number 1 seed for a reason, and he's been the best player on their team as they've been a number 1 seed. I would 100. I don't let Walter Clayton fall out the first round.
But Drew Timme was too, though. Like, so I'm saying, like, that's the hard part.
Yeah, but it's a little different.
The Harrison twins were, but I think that's the hard part about college basketball, bro.
Sure. Well, Walter Clayton better than Drew Timme.
Yeah,
and he's
I think
better.
so.
I think he's a better pro prospect than Drew Timme and the Harrison twins.
But you're evaluating some at that point. Even Luka Garza. Luka Garza was crazy.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, I thought Luka Garza was like a dog in college. Zach Edey, maybe one of the best college players ever. But I think like, do you think he's more limited like horizontally, doesn't have like crazy athleticism. So like, I don't know, bro. Like
he got what you need in the NBA. He got a banger, he got a one dribble pull up, and he gets to that rack. It's like at that point.
I mean, so Keontae George, but just not as good.
Keontae got a little more in the athleticism department. He got more in the playmaking department. But I like how Walter, he just plays composed. He don't look like he's ever rushed. And he look like he can get to a shot whenever he wants to. And on top of that, we've seen him. He's done it every single game in the tournament. And you have a whole season in the SEC, which was the toughest conference. Like, he's just proven that he's just a baller.
Yeah, bro, it's going to be a great game. Who do you think winning?
Houston is just different. They're just different. And then Kelvin Sampson, he that experienced coach is just locked in. I got Houston. It's too much dog over there. It's too much dog.
All right.
So, hey, for all I know, Ime Udoka and Kelvin Sampson, they locked in. Houston basketball in general, and then Jordan in the AAU circuit, and Houston basketball in general right now. They going crazy. But all right, y'all. KR sent through a super chat and said, OKC LA is interesting. OKC double big, didn't look great against LA. Didn't look great as LA are a big team. So OKC then goes small, and then they are too small for LeBron, Luka, and Rui. As Dort a 6'3", J-Dub 6'5", SGA 6'4.5", Casey Wallace 6'2", Caruso 6'4.5".
You just don't go double big. But
Mars, it could get scary for OKC. I still think they're going to come out the West, but there's a possibility for it to get scary for OKC.
They're just not walking. I don't think they're walking past everybody like everybody thinks that they are. I don't think
West
they
is
are.
ridiculous.
I still feel the same way about OKC.
There's no such thing as an easy matchup in the West
at all.
Yeah,
at
West
all.
Is crazy.
It's a nightmare.
Place,
every team has something you should be afraid of. Every single team. Except for maybe Houston, but Houston has the best team basketball. Maybe
they got some you should be afraid of too.
Some teams got real chain snatchers too, Swiper. Real chain snatchers.
Like the Kings? Who?
The Thunder will walk by the Kings. I think this playoffs more than ever is one that's entirely based on matchups. That's where I stand. Like, if we're still at the point where we're judging teams based on how far they go in the playoffs, like I think we have to do a better job of like. The Thunder may be a bad example, but the Lakers could lose in the first round. I said this about Dallas last year. The Lakers could lose in the first round or go to the conference finals or the finals. The Warriors could lose in the first round or go to the conference finals or the finals. The Timberwolves, similar things. Like, it's all going to come down to matchups. There's teams that the Warriors match up well with. There's teams that they don't match up so well with. They're not a better or worse team just depending on when they see the good or bad matchups. It's just, you just hope you see a bad matchup later. If the Warriors see a bad matchup in round one, they might go home in round one. But if they avoid all their bad matchups, they might end up in the NBA finals. That doesn't mean they're better than they would have been if they lost in round one. It's just you avoided the bad matchups. So that's all this playoffs is going to show me. That it's all about matchups. And who's the most matchup proof? That's probably who's going to come out on top. And that's why I expect OKC to get out of the West. Yeah. But that's all it's really going to come down to.
The Clippers were literally 4 days ago in an elimination game if the playoffs started today. They're now comfortably, if it ended today, they're the 5th seed.
They're not comfortably.
Yeah, I think that's tied.
What I'm saying is that if it ended today,
they'd be 4-5. Yeah,
I'm in the playoffs, as opposed to just 4 days ago. If I lose, I'm out. I'm out the playoffs. I don't get another shot.
There's a world where Denver falls to 6 or 7.
You guys are you're only
a half game.
Half a game up
win, but they lose to tiebreaker to all those teams, I think, because of the West record.
You play Memphis, right?
They play Memphis tomorrow.
If you somehow go 0-3.
Oh, they're playing. Yeah.
8 seeds.
4 to 8 is only separated by a half game. What's going on in the NBA? I'm losing my mind right now.
I think the Lakers got 3. I think the Lakers.
Are you telling me that I could go from hosting a playoff
unless they lose and just bomb?
Yeah, I'm fairly confident the Lakers have secured 3. So I think 4 through 8 is what we're waiting.
The Lakers have 4 games left, so if they lose all 4, basically they drop.
I mean, I don't know what
I'm in the Matrix, Swiper. I'm in the
Matrix. Why? Why, chill? Why?
Because you're telling me that I could go from hosting a playoff series to being out the playoffs in a week.
Yeah. Well,
what's
no,
going
2
on right
days.
now.
2 days.
If within 2 days I'm hosting the playoff series to I'm out the playoffs.
There's too many good teams.
The last 4 games in the West are they're all playoff games. That's what it's going to be. They're all playoff games.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, y'all. It is going to be a wild week, so make sure y'all tap in and buckle up because
That's nuts.
hey, this is why we NBA fans. This is what we here for.
This is
And
exactly what
the
we're here
basketball
for.
gods have given us anything that we could pray for. They've given it to us. It doesn't get too much better than this. So shout out to the NBA. Shout out to this last week. We are going to be locked in. Y'all lock in with us. In the meantime, and it's the PCL Final Four. Like it's just a good time, y'all. Tip-offs and kickoffs became a YouTube member today. SimWest34 also became a YouTube member today. And then SimWest34 sent through a members chat and said, Giannis' playmaking has been really elite. KPJ, by the way. I think in the last 5 games, Giannis is averaging 10 plus assists. Maybe 10 games, 10 plus assists, something like that.
Damn, I don't know if it's 10, but facts.
He's proven that he could be a passing merchant if he wanted to, but he values other things.
Passing merchant is disgusting. But Giannis really like that.
8.2 assists last 10 games.
We don't talk about. I don't think we talk about
10.6 assists last 5 games.
Behind the back pass, I saw y'all. That behind the back pass, Giannis hit my man with. That's with the weekend too, by the way.
His last 3 games, he's averaging 14 assists.
That's what the weekend he hit him with the behind the back.
36, 12, and 14.
He's starting to pick it up. It's like if I want to really respect me as the MVP,
we get Giannis on a 2018 Bron run in the postseason.
I don't think he's gonna have that. I don't think he's gonna have the opportunity, unfortunately.
I would love to see that.
And also, too, we don't got to get deep into it, but I told y'all Doc Rivers better let that boy off the leash. If he wants any chance,
he ain't have much choice. Dame went up.
Yeah, hey, if you want to win, let KPJ off the leash. You don't got nothing else to lose. Nothing.
Oh yeah, they definitely.
Sheesh.
DSG Piccolo said the way UConn just dog walked South Carolina was something special. Hellacious defense. Sarah Strong is a effing problem. AZ Fudd, a bucket too. Rockets had Steph in jail. Excellent communication.
I want one of those, too. I want one of those fud around and find out shirts. I want one of those.
Shout out AZ. Drink More Water said, I don't know how you guys feel, but that was an all-time college choke job by Duke. 8 points in the final 8 minutes of the game and blew a 9-point lead in 2 minutes on college. Credit Houston.
Yeah. And maybe people are different from me. I really don't penalize college players that much, bro, because I don't think people realize, like, for me at least, well, just because like there's so much variance in college sports because they're so young, so immature, and they don't know what they're doing, and you can crash out so often. I'm saying it matters. No, I'm saying it matters, but at the same time, like people are like, oh, bro, like I don't know, bro. Like college sports is just different, bro. Like it's just not a. It's so.
Wait, you're up 3 possessions with 2.
No, I know, I get it. I get it.
We got enough points to win. We got enough.
They should have won.
At this level, you just got to be like. Don't get me wrong. Though, Swiper. I feel you as much as it's like you like. That's not gonna for the players on Duke. Any of them that go to the league, that's not gonna carry over to me. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, they can't get it done at this level because you remember when they folded against Houston. Nah, you'll never hear that come out of my mouth because, to your point, they're babies, right? But at this level of basketball, you've been playing basketball for so long at such a high level. If you go to Duke, then you played high-level basketball before you got to Duke. You know what I'm saying? So you need to have that thought process already.
But, Proctor going to the free throw line right there, bro, like, people are just slamming. I'm like, I get it. But, bro.
You got to get slammed. That's okay.
But it's...
You have to. That's just a part of growing up. That's a part of getting ready to be a professional.
Right.
You got to be able to take your quickest with your straights. You know what I'm saying? Like you lose a game like that. You got to eat that criticism. You have to, and you have to accept it. You got to.
I guess for me, I'm saying like they shouldn't be. I'm saying be criticized for the basketball stuff. But I think, but being criticized like an NBA player for me is just not. It's just I can't go there because.
Also, that was a good last look from Cooper Flagg. I'm not getting at him for missing it, but you can't ask for a better look than that. And I think Cooper makes that.
Well, I think he shortchanged it because he wasn't ready, Ox. I think he need to fall in the draft, if you ask me.
That's hilarious.
We got a new
so like to where to maybe
like 20 this year, like 21, something like that.
21, huh?
Shoot,
That'd be a good landing.
and we keep playing around. Maybe 14. We keep playing around.
Hey, so I'm watching that. I'm watching I'm watching like a replay that they're talking about just the March Madness leading up the 80s, 90s and stuff, right? They're going over that Kentucky Duke game when Grant Hill throws the ball deep to Christian Laettner. If Christian Laettner misses that shot, are you holding him accountable, Swiper?
I didn't like Christian Laettner, so I would have cooked for Christian Laettner. Nobody did. I didn't like Duke at all. So no, I mean, yeah, it's. But you talking about the full court pass?
Yeah, well, at that point, I was a baby, so I didn't know. But when I grew up, I hated Duke.
No, but chill. A full court pass to a mid-range shot of contested. If he would have missed it, he just would have missed that. Chill. There's just no way.
When you watch it though, when Christian hit the boom this way, spun over the left shoulder, said, "Whoo, that was a badass white boy." I don't care what. I don't care. I know he stepped on chest and did some dirty stuff, but Christian
but Ox, you know this. It's rare you get a Carmelo Anthony, Kemba Walker, Michael Jordan. We're like, they're by the time they're 18, they're already like, these are all stars one day. Because they up here, they're different. Like Melo getting that ball to close out those Final Fours. Y'all know how crazy that is for an 18-year-old to do that. Michael Jordan's a freshman playing with like the captains on the team and Worthy, chill, and they're drawing up a play for him, and he hits a open midi for the game. Shoot, bro, like, man, that's a different deal. And Shabazz Napier, you're talking about in the Big East championship game, putting somebody on the ground, and like, come on, dog, like that. It's just some people, most people ain't built like that, bro. Not at 18, 19 years old.
Some people just built different. Some people mature earlier. They ready for that type of stuff.
Just so y'all know, Cooper Flagg is a senior in high school this year. He ain't even supposed to be in college.
Cooper special. But all right, y'all. JD Sway became a YouTube member today. Shout out to JD. I got another member by the name of Chef F Marshall. Shout out to Chef F. Appreciate you for joining up. Jesse Gabriel sent through a sticker and then sent through a super chat and said, Ron, are y'all able to talk about the West standings and the playoff matchups we might see?
Sorry, Houston. Look like Denver's tanking for 7. So sorry about that, y'all.
I'll put this on the screen right now. This will show all the matchups that we are going to see currently. Obviously, we still have time left in the season, but as of right now in the West, we are looking at OKC obviously is the top seed. Then we got Houston down there as the 7th seed, or as the 2nd seed, who will be playing a 7. As of right now, we know our concrete matchups. We have Denver playing against the Clippers, and we have the Lakers playing against the Warriors.
Oh, please stay just like this.
That Memphis Timberwolves game, you know how hard they're gonna play to avoid OKC? Like, do you know how hard the 7-8 playing game are going? They're gonna play like it's game 7 of the NBA Finals. No team, and this is not to disrespect Houston, no team is choosing to play OKC in round 1. They are gonna play so hard in that game. So hard in that game.
Regardless of that, Morris, the 7th, 8th seed, I would love to see any of those in any of those series. So whether it's Memphis and OKC or Memphis and the Rockets and vice versa, the Wolves and the Rockets or the Wolves and OKC. And I'm not even looking at the 9 and 10 seed. I'm just looking at the 7 and 8. But either of them series,
the 9
I think
and 10
it'd be beautiful. Ox, come on, dog.
Ron, so you're telling me you're telling me
we can't beat Memphis on the Mavs with AD. Like,
hold on. So wait a second. You're telling me that
you're watching that game, Ox.
Wait. You don't gotta watch that game. I don't care if you watch that game or not. What I'm saying is, are you telling me that us in Dallas can't beat Memphis? Hey, what? Y'all serious about
Memphis? Get that 7 seed. Memphis will get that 7 seed.
That's what you want. That's what you're praying for.
Wake Ron up because Ron's sleeping.
There's a reason you're praying for it.
Ron's snoring on these dudes.
Hey, I do want to say though, I do think it's going to be an upset though. In these playoffs, I think like we're going to get a 7th, 8th, or 6th seed that's going to win.
But I don't think
with the way the West is set up, I don't think that upsets.
And I don't think
nobody might not be upset, but
unless OKC loses. Unless OKC loses,
you might not classify it as an upset, but I think one of those seeds
a lower seed can win.
I think it happens this year.
I think that can happen out east too. I think the Knicks can lose.
Potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And Indiana.
What y'all don't know is that OKC is actually scared of us, but that's okay.
They are
Sleep,
not scared
Ron.
of you guys, Ox. No, they not.
Go to sleep, Ron. I hope you.
As you were saying,
I
Ron.
wish you were asleep. I wish you were asleep right now.
Good.
I'll wake your ass up with a right hook.
Ron, I already told you we boxing when I see you. I already told you that. We are boxing when I see you.
Well, Ox, I hope Debo bring that right hook. And Chill, I hope you bring that same right hook. Conscious E said this past weekend was a fat dub for PC. I was rolling watching Playback last night.
Word.
Shout out Playback. It's been a good weekend on Playback and in the PCL. And on Chill with Chill. And on the Hoop Talk podcast. And on that debate where somebody got cooked, that football debate. I don't know if you guys seen it.
You mean when you chose our subjects for us? Shouts.
This one. Yeah, somebody got cooked and somebody.
You know how many DMs I've received from LeBron fans mad at me that I had to debate Steph Curry was more impactful. I've been told to end my life like 7 times. So shout out to LeBron fans.
Ron's a disgusting human being, by the way. I don't know if y'all knew this. He's a very nice guy, but also a very disgusting human being. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, shout out my boy Bama.
You're a saint, but you're a scumbag, Ron. Can you believe?
Our Archie Manning. Shout out Shador. First off, no one up here cares about NFL anyway, because every time we have these talks, Marcy doze off. You should be a huge football fan.
Don't worry, y'all. PC football.
I care about football, Swiper.
I know you do.
Swiper,
Ron only care about the Seahawks.
One day, Swiper, there will be a PC football, and people will actually care about it.
Never used to. They love the gridiron shows.
Marlon Dews said, rank these power forwards based on their best years. 01, Chris Webber. 04, Jermaine O'Neal. 06, Elton Brand. 2011, Zach Randolph. 13, Carmelo Anthony. 15, Aldridge. And 19, Blake Griffin.
Carmelo was a small forward that year. I'm taking Jermaine O'Neal or all those dudes, especially Chris Webber.
Wait, rank these power forwards based on the best year. Chris Webber, Jermaine. Melo.
He wasn't there.
Take Melo out.
Melo shouldn't be. Chris Webber's better than all these dudes.
Chris Webber's the best player there.
It's like easily. It's easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's Jermaine O'Neal. It's Jermaine O'Neal.
Come on.
Jermaine O'Neal was cold, but Webber
was not.
He was never better than.
Yes, he was. Jermaine O'Neal 04 better than Chris Webber.
He was never better than Webber. No, he wasn't. The best.
It was two completely different
better
playing fields.
2001, Chris Webber. As good as Jermaine O'Neal was, he was not better than Webber. So I'll go Webb. I'll go Webb, O'Neal, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus, Zach, Elton Brand.
Am I too low on Blake Griffin or something?
2019 Blake, I think you're a bit low on him. That Blake, he was running point. He was handling the ball. He was doing everything. That's the best Blake to me.
I don't know why would dude put up the dude who sent the super chat. My question to you is, why would you put the best version of Chris Webber up there, the best version of Jermaine O'Neal up there, and then put 19 Blake Griffin up there? Why not put 2013 Blake Griffin up there?
Because I think 19 Blake was better, but
he got better. He got a skill set together.
I mean, if you want to go with pure numbers, he was averaging 24.5 points a game in 2019. That's a career high. So
shout out to Elton Brand though.
He was averaging 5.5 assists that year.
This is why I'm saying, like, people put up stuff. Jermaine O'Neal, I don't know if people realize this. He was gonna lead the Pacers to the NBA championship before the brawl.
I had them winning it. I had them winning the NBA championship
punching people
in 04.
No, he didn't do that. He didn't do that.
Punch somebody. So what are you talking about?
After the fact, to defend a friend. Yes.
I'm not doing this.
That's right.
I'm trying to bring it up.
As you were saying, Ron, as you were
trying to
saying,
get to the Final Four.
As you were saying, Ron,
Penn has chimed in with the members chat. I think you guys know this guy pretty well. He's only been around for 6 months, but shout out to Penn. He said, "Congrats to UConn. Paige got it. Also, 410 likes. Really? It's 438 now, but really? Can we get the likes up?"
Yeah, man. Get some likes up,
It's 2,400 people in here right now, including Twitter, and we have 438 likes. Why aren't you guys liking the video? Ajay Banga became a YouTube member. Shout out to Ajay Banga. DSG Piccolo said, "No playoffs this year. I need Chauncey fired.
Their GM just got extended, so Chauncey's gonna get extended too. That's how they
Yeah, they on their way. DSG. Oh, these. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A lot of people like Chauncey. That's so weird to me. Like he's doing a good job.
They're trending in the right direction.
It's probably Mars propaganda. Mars has more power than he realized. That's exactly what it is.
DSG's been anti-Chauncey. He's the resident Blazers fan.
Talking about
the Blazers.
Mars really said what he says doesn't matter, and then he's directly influencing people against Chauncey Billups.
But DSG's been anti-Chauncey in like every super chat he's ever sent. Blaming me.
Well, Mars, convince him that Chauncey's a good coach. You convince everybody else.
I ain't gonna convince him of something I don't believe.
Exactly.
See, there you go.
That doesn't mean that they think that because of me.
Masinko said.
Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
Masinko said, Dub Jermaine O'Neal, Dub C-Web, L Host, L Seahawks, Mariners, and Sonic.
What's Seattle ever won? Like besides your.
you know what Swipe is trying to do right now, right? Swipe is trying to prolong this. He doesn't want us to get to the PCL because he's not a part of it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that, by the way, Ron.
It is crazy.
MP13 said, Mars, what's the evaluation on the Rockets in-game offensive execution in half court?
I mean, it's a lot of Jalen Green, Şengün two-man game. If Jalen Green is making shots, that makes things a lot more viable. I like Şengün when he's facing up in the mid-range and he's isolating. Not a big fan of the post-ups. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to... It's really like basketball. Sometimes it's just a very simple game. Is Jalen Green going to make shots? Is he going to make good decisions? If he does, we have a chance. If he doesn't, we're putting ourselves in a very bad position. But it's still going to be crush the offensive glass. Don't turn the ball over. And then just generate the best shots we can on any given possession, but still prioritizing the offensive rebounds and stuff. I think we can close games, and I think the last two games, I mean, the OKC game didn't go down to the wire, but we executed down the stretch of the game to not allow a comeback. And the Golden State game, it was close, and then we opened it up. Jalen Green played well in both of those fourth quarters. It's going to come down to him and Şengün. Absolutely. That's where I stand.
All right, y'all. Here's where I stand. We have 497 likes, and we are trying to get to the winners of the PCL Elite 8, and we won't do that until we get 700 likes. So y'all do y'all job, and El Host will do his job.
So now me having to know if I won is dependent on other people.
I'll let you know, but they just won't know.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Like the video, though. It helps, I think.
Cowboy Bob said, can we have co-MVPs?
Nope. Nope.
He said, JB Bickerstaff, Coach of the Year, ? Cat scoring 30 on 10 to 15 shots, looking like Cat was a good addition to the Knicks at Chilltown.
Yes, he does. 100%. But we ain't doing that co-MVP shit. Hell no, we ain't doing that. You get one wife. Pick one. Pick one. Sorry, Ops. No, you don't get a bunch of different wives. You get one wife. Pick one.
If two people deserve it, why can't they?
Hard out here.
Hey,
pick somebody.
So if the numbers actually turn out a tie, like if the voters vote and whatever, and the points is tied, they can't just get co-MVPs?
Then we got a hung jury, and then we got to vote again. Then we got to go over this whole thing all over again.
Just give them both the MVP. If it ties, it's a tie. That's just life.
Sure, but what's wrong with co-wives?
No.
In some religions, you can have multiple wives.
No.
What religion is that?
In the Mormon religion.
I don't know. Do some research.
Now? In this era?
Yo, we are at 540 likes. We need to get to 700. Y'all do y'all job, and we will talk about who won in the Elite 8. In the meantime, Zero Just Vibing said, it's not locking them down if nobody on the court can do anything. They gave up the roll every time. Jimmy and Kuminga should have combined for 50.
I mean, we did pre-rotate on those roles. Like the only person who really like got free on those was like Gary Payton. Like he was the only one who was like playing in the pocket and doing well. But even him, I remember he got stuffed by Steven Adams on that because we pre-rotated. So
they made a conscious effort. They made a conscious effort to not let Steph Curry kill him. That's what they were trying to do.
That's the logical thing to do.
Of course.
Mike from Europe, not Mike the champ, Mike the European, said the Lakers' record this season against the West is actually crazy considering all the changes they have had. And the Lakers are, I think, 32-10 against the West. Let me see.
I'll check. It's something. Yeah, they're
30,
really
34-14.
They're really good against it. I think them and OKC are the two best records against the West, I think.
You sure OKC did to the East? 29-1?
Yeah, the only loss was that Cleveland game, which they were winning and they blew it. Like they could have gone 30-0 against the East. They probably should have.
Never happened.
But shout out to the Lakers. Lakers are a bad road team too. I didn't notice that until just now. 30-10 at home, 18-20 on the road.
Because they ain't nothing without that cartel. Nothing.
Dylan Fahari became a YouTube member. Shout out to Dylan. Cool Joe sent through a super chat and said, "Someone tell Shea to wake up. The team goes as he goes. Point blank. Period. Lazy effort by OKC as of late. Disgusting."
Yeah, Shea's looked human the last.
Yeah, if the Nuggets had a representable team, this would be a fun MVP race, but they don't. So.
I think it's crazy that they don't have a representable team and they're in the top 5 in a nightmare of a Western Conference.
Because they've lost 4 straight. They have not shown up defensively at all since January. For
Houston Rockets lost 6 straight at one point, and now they
but we didn't have Fred VanVleet, so you know.
No Jamal too, so I guess that counts.
That's a fact. Drink more water. I know it might not be on the record, but they're 29-2 against the East.
Oh, facts.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Milwaukee got on them.
Ray B said, "Where's the panic meter for Cleveland right now? Defense seems to be falling off. 1 through 10, how concerned are we with the playoffs near?"
They're going to the Eastern Conference Finals probably at minimum. So I mean,
I haven't watched the Cleveland game in a minute. Like they wrapped up the 1 seed, so I don't really want the last. I think the last Cleveland.
They haven't wrapped it up yet. They haven't wrapped it up yet, Mars. They still got to win one more game.
They for all intents and purposes, they wrapped it up. Like I haven't watched the Cleveland game. I think since the Clippers game when Kawhi was firing them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't think I've watched the Cleveland game in a minute, so I can't tell you what's going on. I've seen on the box score Zach LaVine gave him 37.
Play well yesterday.
That wasn't nothing. That was light.
Good work.
That wasn't nothing.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about Cleveland. Well, y'all, as of right now, we're at 566 likes, so I'll just keep reading super chats, and once we get to 700, I'll announce the final 4. Yeah. Thank you to everybody that has liked the video. If you haven't liked the video, I guess you're a patient person. Kelly Dan Hogan said, "Pretty sad that media talking influences voters more than player stats. Jokic's voice is the numbers, not media, spinning his narrative."
Jokic's voice. Interesting.
I mean, at this point, it's like he had a 40-point triple-double last night, and it's just whatever. You know, they lost. I mean, I don't tell you, no one's playing defense. Like the team, like it's just Christian Brown.
He's on the team.
Yeah, no one's playing defense. I'm saying no one's playing defense. Like the team, they're not covering. That's what I'm saying. They work worse than a high school basketball team defensively. They're just no communication, no nothing.
A lot of high school basketball teams play defense.
I know, but they look like the ones that don't make the playoffs.
Yes.
King Musa said, I think Mars doesn't want to deal with the weight of the decision like that. That's fair and respectable."
Yeah.
I don't want that responsibility, which is what I said.
I don't want any responsibility. I just...
Love when Mars gets in this bag.
Don't ask me to do nothing. Keep going, Ron.
Medved said MVP would be easier to determine if they introduce Offensive Player of the Year like they have Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, well, the problem is they did it in the NFL. All they did is made the MVP a quarterback win. Like now it's a quarterback win.
It wouldn't be the same in basketball, though, right?
Well, probably, maybe not, because think about it. What they would do then last year, they would have said that they probably would have gave Luka Offensive Player of the Year, but
last year
the best offensive player.
MVP?
Yeah, they would have split it up some weird way like that.
And then you'd be like, "I see Jokic is so much better defensively."
But then that's what I'm saying. Like then it becomes this nonsense. So I don't think.
I mean, yeah, maybe it would need a criteria, but I would like to see an Offensive Player of the Year award. Like I think that would be cool.
If they did that, I think Kawhi would have an MVP.
What year?
That could be interesting. That could be interesting. Like if you do Offensive Player of the Year award and then Defensive Player of the Year awards, and then you weigh out like the average position, and whoever has the highest weighted average is the MVP. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Like let's say you're third in Offensive Player of the Year awards, and you're fourth in DPOY, and then someone else is first in offense, but 26th in DPOY.
No.
one's weighted average.
That sounds like a
See,
terrible
Steph-
formula.
Steph-
I'm not gonna lie to you.
That'd be interesting.
Steph would have got offensive player of the year, and Kawhi would have got MVP.
What happens? What happens when you win the offensive player of the year and you win the league MVP? Because that can happen too.
Imagine if you win the offensive player of the year award, MVP, and DPOY.
And guess what? Made up player.
Giannis would have did that.
Made up player.
You Giannis have done that in 2020.
No, James Harden would have won offensive player of the year in all those seasons.
Giannis
Olajuwon would have won it in '94.
He wouldn't have won offensive player of the year
in '94.
No, chill. No,
Ron, go ahead, Ron.
Solomon said, "Does Kawhi have a knee condition?" ? I remember briefly y'all talked about why Kawhi can't play in back-to-backs, and it's not in injury.
He just played in back-to-back.
Yes, sir, Solomon. He's got a condition. He doesn't have an injury.
Solomon, where the hell you been, Solomon?
Yeah, we've been talking about this.
No, where have I been? Morris, you just played in the back-to-back?
Yeah, he played. It was Orlando, and then the second night of the back-to-back. Who did they just play? Dallas. Orlando and Dallas. They just played. He just played the back-to-back.
Well, I'm not. And Mars' theory that he told us 2 months ago, 3 months ago, is actually coming to fruition. This is what they're doing with him. This is exactly what they're doing with him.
See, Mars, you got motion.
This is exactly what they're doing.
I don't think the Clippers had that plan in place. I just
you gave them the plan, and then they took it and ran with it. Okay. Shout out to Mars, y'all.
And you're not even a medical professional, Mars. How did you do that?
Ulysses Ventura said, according to Stephen A. Smith and Perkins, Jokic should have 0 MVPs. They never voted for him as the number one.
Well, he's never won a majority of the ESPN votes, by the way. So I've said this before. ESPN does not. They have different. They're very market biased, and they've been this way for a long time.
All right. Well, speaking of media votes and likes, we have 622 likes as of right now. So we're almost there, guys. Keep going. Try your hardest. When we get to 700 likes, we will be revealing who will be in the final four. Have
you liked the video? Has everybody on here liked the video? Let me go ahead and add so I can.
Yeah, good idea. I ain't like it.
Well,
it's like voting for yourself. Have you voted for
I'm not that eager to find out who won. So
yeah, well,
630. I got it. So I got us up 631.
If you've liked the video,
Miles, are you nervous?
No.
Okay.
What happens. I can't undo the debate. If I lost, I lost. If I won, I won.
Yeah,
no reason to be nervous when everything's already happened.
Yeah, we might not have no members of the panel in the final four, but hey, it's how life works.
Be like that.
Oh wait, no, Jordan.
Jordan
or Ox has to make it.
Well, so, up here.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay.
Bob sent through a super chat and said, "Swiper is saying inaction has actionable effect. A ref can try to avoid influencing a fight." But by not taking a point for eye pokes, or cannot,
I don't get it.
Can try to avoid influencing a fight by not taking a point for eye pokes, but that just enables fouls.
He's saying that not doing anything still has consequences. So trying to stay out of things doesn't mean you aren't involved in what's
I agree with that first part. On the second part, but yeah, first part,
with the voting thing though, like to where Swiper tried to take it, it's like you have the right to vote, but you also have the right to withhold your vote to people that don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? You should never be forced to vote for somebody that you don't believe deserves your vote.
That's what freedom is, right? The right to vote is the right to also not vote.
That's exactly.
You have the right
the right to vote to write. Well, yeah, I mean you can technically do.
You can't force somebody.
Well, I know, but I'm saying the right to vote for who you choose to vote for is kind of how it works for. You don't have to vote for one of the main two, but you can write in.
And to my point, yes, I have a right to go.
Yeah, but I think that's the point he's saying. Inaction is still inaction. Like
I'm not voting.
Yeah,
well, there were 14 million less voters in this last election than there were in one previous. So a lot of people were inactive.
They felt like nobody deserved it. I feel them on that. Why would I go to one of these scumbags? No.
Well, y'all, somebody.
I ain't no scumbag. You better vote for me. I know that for a fact.
That's true. Somebody deserves.
You on that ballot? If you ever.
We go to 700.
What you got, Ron?
We didn't get to 700. I'm just teasing everybody.
Oh, okay.
What you got, Ron?
We got 676 likes, so we are almost there, guys. But Dylan Fahari said, "Curious to hear what y'all think the Warriors the Warriors' skill ceiling is. After watching them beat Denver in person, oh, that's why I swiped the left. After watching them beat Denver in person, seems like they can make a run to me.
What would their skill? Why would their skill be the point of emphasis here? Like, wouldn't it be what is their ceiling as a team? Like, their skill has something to do with it, sure, but why would the point of emphasis just be their skill?
I don't know. I think their ceiling is depends on if Jimmy Butler can scale up as a scorer. I'm not sure what the level he
17
can do
game ain't enough. That's not.
So I think he is their ceiling, if that makes sense.
Kareem NYK 2001 said Jokic over KD equals Giannis over Shea, which is greater than everybody else as a scorer. Also, shout out to the God Blackman. The God Blackman? John Diesel?
John Diesel.
God
Shout out to John D for sure. I don't think I would have KD. I think Shea's probably just Shea and Jokic to me are the top two scorers in the league. Giannis and KD would be in my next group, and then obviously 24 Luka would be in that conversation. This Luka, no. So that would be like my top 5-ish.
Shout out to God D. Mike sent through a super chat and said, who gets doubled the most out of Luka, SGA, KD, and Joker? Would they be putting up these numbers if they were doubled as much as Luka?
No, but I think it would create its own kind of worms. I mean, you doubled people for a reason. I think Luka's probably the most double team player in the NBA. Well, blitzed, if you count blitzes as double teams. But yeah, it's not really about numbers to me.
All right, y'all, 697 likes. We're so close, we can almost taste it. But in the meantime, StemWest34 said, can we talk about Giannis, his 21-22 season, 30-12-6, while being first team all defense with Lopez out? Question, which star would you like to pair with 34 if you could? What's the
Gary
PCL
Payton.
topic?
Yeah, Gary Payton.
Shout out GP, man.
Chill convinced me. And he made a very good argument.
Definitely did. I'm still gonna go
think
with
GP was an amazing pick.
I would have gone with Kobe. Kobe was my pick, but you know, Gary Payton was a good pick.
All right, well, the judges have spoken and the chat has finally did their job. So, fellas, let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's do it.
We now working overtime because of how long.
Again. But go ahead, Ron. Here we go.
Y'all don't want to try to get to 750 likes?
Okay, Ron.
Okay, all right.
As you saying, Ron.
All right, y'all.
Snap you like a pencil, bro. Come on.
Here we go, y'all. We are going to start at the top. And
yo, this is nerve-wracking, y'all. This feel like the beginning of a real good basketball game, bro. For real, I'm a juice right there. Come on, man.
You put Ox on the line. Ox, can you relax, brother? Relax, my man. Take a breath.
Come on, man.
Relax, Ox. You good?
All right, y'all.
Can you say was there any sweeps this time?
No, it wasn't no sweeps.
No, I don't think
me and Ox have lost our 6-0 streak.
So, fellas, we have Mars and John D. And
the Hoop Talk podcast. Let's go.
The winner of this is Mars. You will be advancing to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got to the numbers, and Mars, well, you just cleaned up. You just
look at my boy.
Up, brother.
Look at my boy right there. I got to give him a sedative.
Hey, Ron, do my last, Ron.
No, stay right here, Ron. Stay here,
Ron. Because if I look, because I said I'm not a poor sport right now, but I might just crash out, and I don't want to ruin the rest of it. So.
All right, and Mars, you almost did sweep. 2 of the judges had you sweep in. 1 judge had you 2-1.
Ooh. I'll judge whoever that was. I'll judge.
You cleaned up for the most part. Ox, you want to go last?
My palms are sweating, Ron.
Knees weak. All right.
No, I don't know. I'm sitting down, so I can't really call it.
We have Real Talk and Hayes.
I think Hayes won, but we'll see.
Well, one of the judges had Real Talk 3-0.
Oh wow.
Shit.
Another judge had Hayes 2-1.
Okay.
Oh.
And the final judge has Real Talk 2-1. So Real Talk will be advancing to the Final Four. Shout out the boy Real Talk.
I feel like Real Talk 3-0 is crazy, but
Shout out Real Talk.
Man, shout out Real Talk. Real Talk. And then we have Chill Town and Logan.
Yeah, I actually don't know who won this one. I think Chill won round 1 and Logan won round 3. I don't know who won round 2.
The first judge had Chill 2-1. The next judge had Chill 2-1. And the final judge had Chill 2-1. So it looks like Chill will be seeing Real Talk.
Chill against Real Talk.
That's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good one.
That's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be
Get in
interesting.
my bag with Real Talk too. I gotta get in my bag.
Real Talk. Hey, Real Talk has proven himself as a formidable opponent. Who would have thought?
I gotta get in my bag with Real
Who would
Talk.
have thought?
I get in my bag.
Do you?
All right, y'all. And after we reveal this last one, I will be running a poll asking you guys who will be winning the PCL. So you guys talk to me. But we have one more bout that we have to get down to the bottom of. Big Ox, hold your breath. Because
I'm holding my breath. I can't breathe.
The first judge. Hold on, wait. Hold up.
I'm nervous for Ox now. He's got me feeling like I'm nervous for him.
All right, y'all. The first judge had
I never wanted to win a debate this bad.
Big Ox 2-1. Shout out to Low. You never would have thought he had you, Ox.
My man.
The next judge had Jordan 3-0.
Stop lying.
Damn, Ticket really hates you.
3-0?
That's not true. Nobody thought Jordan won.
3-0, yeah. Hey, I'm just reading off what the judge had.
Ox, it might be over for you.
Right. If anybody thought I lost the first round, then yeah, I'm cooked.
And then
I think 3-0 is crazy. I don't even think Jordan thought 3-0.
Nobody.
And then the last judge
Come on.
had Jordan. Sorry,
That's all right. That's okay.
Your road to PCL glory ends now, Big Ox. I'm sorry.
I do feel like 3-0 is crazy, but I mean, I guess.
Yeah,
That's what's up, though. Hey, shout out to the Drish, man. That's what's up, man. He did his thing for sure. He did his thing.
I picked against Jordan every round.
Yeah,
He's still here, just hanging around.
Jordan,
I said I wanted him to win the last one because I said I'd rather debate him than you. So,
hey, 3-0 is out of pocket. These are illegitimate judges. All right, but that's what's up though. Shout out to you, Jordan.
Well, once again, y'all take it up with Low, Ticket, and Dub, and this is how it was, and this is how they decided. So, shout out to PCL judges, shout out to PCL, and shout out the Final Four. The Final Four will be this Thursday. The times are 2B.
Always Thursday.
TBA. Yeah, Thursday. We getting right to it because the finals is Sunday. So all the winners, I will be getting with you. If you did lose this round, salute to you for making it to the Elite Eight. That's commendable in and of itself, y'all. We will be turning around and getting right back to it Thursday, and obviously we're gonna have a PCL after party and all of that good stuff. So chill at Mars. Maybe we will get a panel finals with Chill at Mars. Maybe we'll get 2 underdogs from Houston in Jordan and Real Talk.
Hey, Houston is on the run.
Don't call Jordan an underdog. Apparently, I've had no comp. So Jordan been rattling through comp. So Jordan should be the favorite. But
We'll just have
this a big year for Houston basketball. So I wouldn't be surprised if those two,
so now I'm not
two real Houston fans.
That's my bad, Mars. No, well, they're from Houston, is what I'm saying. They're from Houston.
I'm more from Houston than Real Talk.
Yo, I got a couple more super chats, so we're gonna go ahead and run through these and then get up out of here. Teledan Hogan said ESPN has too many votes and too much influence. They cheerleaders, especially they cheerleader specific teams and players to the detriment of all.
Yeah, I seen something on Twitter. They was talking about the guy passing Gretzky in hockey, and they turned it into a LeBron and Kobe debate. So shout out to First Take.
Shout out to LeBron and Kobe.
Yeah, very good concept.
MP13 said, but the problem is we have voters who vote one way, then contradict themselves the very following year and still have a vote. It's not consistent.
Mars, that guy's name is Alexander Ovechkin.
Ovi.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
You sure it wasn't Sydney?
No, Mars, Ron, it wasn't. You always
Well,
trying to
shout out
push
to-
that Sidney
shout out to
Crosby
Sidney
shit.
Dean.
He
I'm
not.
talking
Oh,
about
he
Sidney
not.
Dean, fool.
Okay. I'm about to say, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
shout out
not
to
having this
Sidney Dean.
conversation with you no more about Sidney Crosby.
Chef F. Marshall said radical change to the NBA. Make an all offensive team or defensive team max. Make both super max. That'd be all NBA team.
We still have to. That's still going to be contingent on voters and contracts. Still, if you're doing that, if you're adding supermax to it.
Nico said, imagine if a judge voted for someone on the PCL based on narratives and they didn't actually watch the debates properly.
I think that might be what happens. Who knows?
We don't got to imagine that.
That might be what happens.
Y'all think one of the judges would vote based on narrative?
I'm very confused at how Ox lost 3-0 to one of the judges. I'm very confused about it.
Like I said, y'all got to take that up with the final boss. He made the final decision. Classic with the super chat said, only the talented 10th that realized Jokic is the greatest player ever should get a vote for MVP. Swipe of the boys, 2025. Shout out Swipe of the boys. Last but not least, the final super chat of the day comes from SimWest34. Sim said, can we talk about Giannis?
Did we not read that one?
No, we didn't read this one.
Yes, you did read this one.
34 said, can we
just
talk
want to
about
praise Giannis?
Giannis, his 21-22 season, 30-12-6, while being first team all defense with Lopez out. Question, which star would you pair with Giannis if you could?
And Mars said Gary Payton.
Indeed.
Yeah, he said Gary Payton.
Sure, I really want you to beat Real Talk because I want to see you in the finals.
I do want to see you in the finals too.
I want to do that, John Stockton and SGA.
Yes, I want to do that.
I really want to talk about.
I definitely want to do that. I want to do that John Stockton SGA thing. I want to see you in the finals, Mars. So
you hold up your end of the bargain. We know I'm gonna hold up mine.
I'm gonna try my best to hold up my end of the bargain so I can see you in the finals.
Don't be a 09 LeBron where I'm here waiting in the finals and I gotta go see the Orlando Magic. Come on, man.
No, I'm gonna do my best to hold up my end of the bargain. I got enough nuts to show. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Speaking of showing something, Classic has one more super chat to say about the PCL. He said Mars said Dirk wouldn't cook PJ Washington because PJ is 6'10. I got Jordan 3-0. Mars eye test, not eye testing. No more.
I didn't say but Dirk wouldn't cook PJ Washington because PJ is 6'10. I did say PJ is 6'10, which wasn't true. So I'm fine with that judge who thinks I lost. That's the round they think I lost. I'm fine with that because that part wasn't true. But I definitely didn't say Dirk wouldn't cook PJ. I kind of just accepted that Dirk was going to score and then made points around that.
All right, y'all. Well, it has been real. It has been fun. It has been spectacular. We will be back tomorrow to talk about the 2 games from tonight and everything else that we need to talk about.
Get my topics to me expeditiously, man.
Please.
I got you. I got you.
So we can do some homework.
Yeah, I would love to have a topic in by the next hour or so, but it just depends on how quick.
No, Mars, you getting your topics on Wednesday, Mars.
Yeah, hey, 20 minutes before the debate. Oh, these are your topics, by the way. Okay.
Hey, Ron,
Get mine on Thursday.
If you don't get me the information to who these judges are by that
I
time,
told
you. Ron, by 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm gonna take it out on your ass.
You should actually make a new video.
Somebody gonna pay for this. Oh. Hey, no. The video dropping tonight. It's going down, and this is not Ox Quarter.
Oh, damn, you gonna react to your debate?
So are you gonna show Lo some love for actually giving you the dub?
This is gonna be the second time I had to take PC to. Well, this is not Ox.
We will not be having this on our platform right now. But what we will do, y'all, is say that we'll see you back tomorrow, and y'all take it light.
Real talk is gonna be for real.
Chill. What do you want them to do?
Take it light, but take it.
Y'all make sure you take it. Let's go tomorrow.